Oh my fucking days. Fuck. That's it. Another trophy bites the dust.
We are fucking embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
The most embarrassing defeat you will ever see in your entire life.
This is a joke.
How do I know?
Look at you, Arteta, bruv. You're a disgrace as well, mate. You're a disgrace, mate. You are.
Look at the state of this man. Get him off my fucking. Leave it off my screen, man.
Fuck off.
I've had enough of this shit. Yeah? Another trophy we're about to fucking bottle, blood.
We are absolute fucking embarrassing.
It's done and dusted. Look at Klopp. He's like a proud dad now.
Liverpool, congratulations.
You're a joke of a football club at this point.
Yeah? Absolute clown. This club's a joke, blood.
There it is. Again. And why was Gabriel Magalhaes marking Kivior? This is a joke, bro.
17 chances, 0 goals. They got some shit free kick because Odegaard got sent, and this little wanker puts the ball in, bang, in.
This guy's been through his dad being kidnapped. Still coming back and bagging against us.
Man, I've had enough of this shit, man.
Two 0.
Oh, fuck off.
He has 2-0.
It's over.
I want him sacked. I've said it all day. I've said it all week.
Welcome back to the Top 6 show, sponsored by our friends at NordVPN. Scan the QR code above. Well, it's in between my head and the Don Husam's head as well. Get that done. Get that scanned today. More on them later. Brilliant panel for you tonight with Husam, LB. Staffy is in the house. We've got man like George here as well. KJ and Northside is on his way. So stay with us tonight. We'll be reviewing the weekend games, looking ahead at some of the big transfer news that is circulating as well, and touching a little bit on Man United versus Wigan, which kicks off in about 3 hours' time. But evening, everybody. Everyone well? Everybody good?
His dad's been kidnapped. Oi, that took with me. That took with me. That's making me smile. I need to smile now, Terry, before the inevitable Wigan dagger knocks out the FA Cup later. So I'm smiling.
No. Trust the manager. Trust the manager. Trust the manager, KJ. Terry, you remember the last time I was here? It's been a while.
It's been a while. I know.
I thought we had a Marcel Bruno debate, so I wonder what are we going to debate today.
Oh, was that last time? Oh, Jesus. I'll just leave you to argue again all the freaking stream, yeah?
Yeah. Welcome to the top 2. No top 6 today. You guys can remove yourself.
Yeah, the top 2. That's what we should have renamed it today. We'll be getting on to all of that a little bit later. I wanted to start off, though, with some interesting news. We know Spurs won at the weekend. It was on Friday. Lots gone on since then. But I wanted to get George's opinion on the big transfer news surrounding Spurs. Timo Werner, done deal on loan with a 17 million euro buy option to bring him in. What's your thoughts on that? Good business for you in January?
Do you know what? It's a start. It's a start, man. I'm not going to sit out here and try to praise Werner to be something that we all know he isn't. We all watched him for 2 years in the Premier League, and probably he gave a performances very similar to a Richard that we have up front. But he's decent, man. We all know that. One of his struggles, one of his problems were during Chelsea's time at their worst, when Lampard couldn't get a kick out of the front line, let alone Tuchel, and they're still having attacking problems to this day. Timo Werner's coming. He got the call. He heard Man United was interested. It only took him 2 minutes on the phone to ANGE to say, "Look, I'm going to Spurs." So we know what it is. I think ANGE's got something there for him. He's got some recipe waiting to cook. And I think he can fit decent into this team. Is he going to be important for us going forward? No, I don't expect it to be anything like that. He's a guy that's going to come in over the next 3 to 4 months to be an option in the front line and just have someone else out on the left or in the middle who we don't have right now due to injuries and Son being away. So it's an option. Am I happy? Look, I'm happy that we got players in. It doesn't matter really who it is, but Werner, he's been in the Premier League. He's a known goal scorer, maybe not as of so recently, but he is a man that can get goals. If you put him in the right positions, he'll get goals. So I'm hoping that we can get the best out of him, but my expectations aren't too high.
I reckon Big Ange could do it, I think Big Ange could get him playing good football, scoring goals. I think Werner seems like one of these guys that needs an arm around him, needs someone to fully believe in him. And he's just seen what ANGE has done to this team right now. It's like he's gotten players playing good football. He's gotten players believing that they can do something. Yeah, they have wobbles here and there, but like overall, like I respect what ANGE has done to Spurs. And the way that they play football, it gives them a different option up front. Like Richarlison, he's great at holding up the ball. He's good at like bringing others into play. He's not necessarily the guy that's going to run the channels like a Son up front. Son's away. So you've got two good options now. I think decent options up front now where you can be like, all right, this game requires a Richarlison. If not, this game requires a Werner to run in behind, use his pace, and hopefully score a goal. You know what I mean? His conversion rate is probably really low in the dumps right now. But I think Big Ange could probably get something out of him. It won't be a worse signing than, I don't know, some of the other players I've been in the Premier League recently. So I think he'll be okay. Better
than like
Big
a
Ange
coming in January.
If you can't score goals, you can't score.
Hey, now, respect Big Iggy, man. Uncle Iggy, respect Uncle Iggy. Weghorst. He can't be worse than Weghorst on loan in January. That's what.
You guys are.
Weghorst won a trophy. Don't do that. Weghorst actually won a trophy.
He did.
No. You can laugh all you want, but it's true. Listen, by the way,
when did he go after Man United? Did he not go? He wasn't even back to Burnley. He went over to Turkey, man. Things aren't so.
He went back to Burnley and then he got loaned out again, I think. So
I don't know where he is right now. To be fair, he's somewhere.
Yeah, wherever he is, he has the League Cup medal on around his neck. But let me correct you there for a second, KJ. You said his conversion rate is kind of bad. His conversion rate is actually good. He averages a goal every 100 minutes, so that's almost a goal every game. The sad part is he's only played 200 minutes. So he has 2 goals in 200 minutes, and he's getting loaned to the Premier League to do what exactly?
Well, probably bolster the squad, man. This is a low risk deal, man. It's probably going to fail, but if it works, then fairs, and if it fails, who cares? You got him on loan. But the disappointing thing here, from the Spurs point of view, is it does lack a bit of ambition. You know what I mean? This is kind of a Spursy type move. You know what I mean? They could go out there. They're for me. You know, they're in the top 5. They're in the title race. They're only 6 points off the top. Go out there, spend a bit of cash, get yourselves in there, give it a good goal. Man. What do you mean? Oh my God, bro! What are you talking about?
Spurs ain't in no title race. Behave.
They're 6 points off at the top. If they go out there and sign some proper players,
and so was Leicester in 1920. Who gives a fuck? They ain't winning.
They're 1 point off phase 7, Arteta. So respect
they're 6
them.
points off at the top. What I'm saying, I don't think they're going to win the league, Husam. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if they go out there and spend some proper money like a real football club, they got a potential chance. But they don't. This is why Spurs don't win anything. It's because
but that's exactly why they don't win anything then.
But that's what I'm saying. It's why you disagree.
The reason I'm gonna pull back on that one is because at the moment the funds we looking spent elsewhere. Centre back is the key. We can all see that. Look, Tottenham just had another centre back injury. We just had another centre back injury over on the weekend when Ben Davies going out, and Van der Ven's just made it back, so he's not fully fit, but he'll be there for the Man United game. At this current moment in time, and we just loaned out Ashley Phillips, we have one recognisable centre-back in our 25-man squad, not including Eric Dyer, because that man will never see a minute in the Tottenham shirt again. So
he's going over to
Bayern.
Yeah, it's
Thomas
crazy.
Tuchel and Kane are doing some great business for us.
You know, if Eric Dyer and Harry Kane end up at Bayern and Bayern win nothing, then George, your club is
Spurs.
That's not my club. Then you'll know that. Then you will know why we haven't won nothing in the past 10 years.
Yeah, that's just
because Harry Kane wasn't world class. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe that is why, but no. At this moment in time, we need to focus the funds towards a centre back and potentially a centre mid. I know that we are looking to bring another centre mid in to replace Højbjerg, and I'm not going to sit here and act like proper clubs go out there and sign players. But at this moment in time, in this January in particular, I don't really think that there are a lot of options out there for attackers to bring in and be like, this one's going to work out for me. A lot of the players.
There are available strikers in the market.
A lot of the players
tell them
in this summer are going to be hit and miss. They're going to be hit and miss right now.
If you pay the money,
no. Wait.
Spurs
Let me correct you there.
Spurs haven't spent money. And first of all, you know what? There's something that triggers me with Spurs fans. We need to stop acting like Van de Ven is fucking Paolo Maldini, because it's getting on my nerves. The way they keep talking about him coming back like it's the return of like some holy defender. He's been here 3 months. He's fucking quick and he can stop counterattacks. We get it. Well, you got
Keep swearing down a little bit, please. Just
Okay, Sam, let's just jealous
let me
no one
speak.
talks
George,
about
can I speak?
Ibrahima
Can I speak? I'm top of the league and I just beat Arsenal. Let me speak. Thank you. So when it comes to Spurs,
you didn't beat me though. So that's why you need to know your level. You didn't beat me, so just know your level in certain places.
Problem.
Yeah?
Van de Ven.
Well, did you diss me?
Amazing centre back that everyone's acting like. He's just quick. You get me? We get it. He's quick. He stops counterattacks. When he was there and he played against Crystal Palace, you still got peppered. You had one shot on target and you won 2-1 by the skin of your teeth. So let's not act like Van de Ven's going to come back and change your whole life and stuff. When it comes to Ivan Toney, I think he's available right now. Now, what LB is saying is 100% right. People are saying about low risk. Respectfully, I'm not an accountant. I'm a football fan. I don't care if it's high risk or low risk. Timo Werner stinks. We've already seen it with our very own eyes. Can't finish to save his life.
Wait. Husam. I just need to go back.
Let me land.
Wait.
Let me land.
No.
Let me land, and then you can respond.
Let me land. Crystal Palace. No, I just need to go back to this because I was thinking we got peppered. I don't know what game you watched. They scored in the 90th minute to get the consolation.
How many shots on target do you have?
And also, they had 20%, 25% possession in the whole game.
How many shots on target do you have?
But we got peppered.
How many shots on target do you have? How many? Can you tell the people? You had one shot on target. You won 2-1. That's what's embarrassing. Anyway, let me finish. When it comes to people like Timo Werner, you know, KJ was doing big Ange prop. Big Ange, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp. No one can teach a striker who can't score goals how to score goals. I've seen it with my own eyes with Nunez. Klopp has made Wataru Endo a football player that's respected. He still cannot get Nunez to score a goal. Either you're clinical or you're not. You might develop it at a later age or whatever, but either you're clinical or you're not. We've seen Timo Werner time and time again, whether it be with his national team, whether it be with Leipzig, whether it be with Chelsea. This guy cannot hit the back of the net, which is something that Spurs require. Does he have pace? Yes. Can he run in behind? Yes. But what's the point if you run behind 4 times and miss all 4 chances?
But he's not even going to be the striker. He's not even going to be the striker. So why are we having this debate? Because Richarlison and Son will be playing in the 9 when he's there. Listen, let me tell you something real quick about Werner, because even though I made fun of him, I actually rate Werner. I rated him a few years ago with Chelsea. Obviously, he did everything but put the ball in the back of the net, which is his number one job, which is why all the stuff that he did around not scoring didn't save his job. He still had to go. But here's the thing. I think he's an Ange type of player because he's very smart in spaces on the ball. Off the ball, he does the pressing well. He's a physical player. He does a lot of stuff that when you look at an Ange team, it fits his team. So off the ball, he's going to be integral. It's 2 things for me. He has to stay fit because he's become injury prone since he left Chelsea, and it depends on where he play him. I don't think he'll play him as a striker. I think when Son is back, Son and Richarlison will start. I'm not looking at this loan as a major loan anyways. I think it's a stopgap because Son is out for a month, but you can't loan in a player for a month. So they have to take the 6 month. I look at it more of a Serge Reguilon type of loan that we did. The minute we got 2 fullbacks fit, the guy never played. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Werner. I think Spurs fans are excited just to see someone different, whatever. And every time he scores, they're probably going to banter Chelsea fans. But other than that, it really relies on expectations. If any Spurs fans is expecting him to hit double digits GA, I don't think that's reasonable at all. I think if you set a very low bar, which is something like 5 goals or whatever in the season,
that's exactly what I said.
I think that's going to be
a good season.
I think he's actually going to play enough just to get you 5 goals. I really don't think he's going to play that much.
Staffy, if they sign Hwang Hee-chan from Wolves, he would score more than 5
But here's the issue, Sam. You keep going to names. Listen, if you tell me, and Terry right now as United fans, who do you want as striker? We'll mention these people. We'll mention Tony. We'll mention Husam, and we'll mention all these people. None of them are attainable in January. When you're talking about the January market, who are the names that we've seen proposed? We've seen Werner, Choupo-Moting, and Muller somehow found his name.
Yeah, was it Guassi? Guassi? What's his name from Stuttgart?
You can't even say his name. That's the point.
Oh, the new Bundesliga striker.
See, but that's the point. This is the market.
No, if you put the money on the table, Staffy. This all doesn't matter. Even
but listen, you keep talking about
that's
putting money on the
hypothetical.
table, like your club will go do it. Your club's not going to go put 70 mil on the table.
I know, but this is not a conversation about my club. This is
but then wait, Husam, if you know your club won't do it, and you're being realistic to the fact. I know my club's not going to do it. I know Man United's not going to do it. No club here, apart from maybe Man City.
Man United have done it.
Chelsea would do it.
Even Arsenal, who we can see are dying.
We can't do it because of FFP.
Dying for a striker. Even Arteta goes out there and says it's a possibility they won't sign anyone. But you're talking about ambition. It's just not possible when the market right now is rigid. There's not enough.
Okay, George, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a genuine question?
I agree with you.
Tomorrow, you call Brentford. You're like 100 million wired to your bank tomorrow. Give us Tony. You think they'll say no? Be honest.
But we don't have 100 million to do that, so it's a silly question. It's just,
you know you have 100 million. You know you have 100 million.
We don't have 100.
You're speculating.
The question
You're speculating.
Every big six club has 100 million.
They can spend 100 million, but then does that mean that you don't have the 30 million to go get Dragusin, or how much he will be costing in January? How about the other places that the Spurs need to cover in January? If they go and spend 100 million on a Tony, a Boniface, or someone like that, that means they're going to be in the short term screwing themselves anyway, because they won't be able to plug the gap in the centre back position.
It makes me believe they're a proper club, though, KJ. It makes me believe that they're actually serious.
And you know, at Standard FC, I can believe all these other teams are proper clubs, and some of them aren't winning trophies. So
no, but KJ, I agree with you. But that's my point. That's my point. If first of all, not only will it fail, I don't even think it's a necessary transfer to begin with. They need a centre back and a midfielder. They don't even need a forward, in my opinion.
We need.
That's why I told you it's a stopgap until Son is back. You just gotta look at it this way. I look
so
at.
You gotta take it for a month, basically. That's it,
bro. We took Regulon until Sean Malesia's back. Malesia's probably still pregnant or whatever's going on with him. I don't know what's going on with him. Shaw came back and that got injured again. And they were like, you know what?
Wait until Jordan knocked out South Korea. We're in the same group. Don't worry, we're gonna knock them out.
To be fair, he's better than Brian Hill. Like Werner out wide is better than Brian Hill. So at least you're replacing a squad player.
I want to throw the Northside. Welcome to the show, mate. I know you're a little bit delayed coming in, get to finish work, and I appreciate you being here. Spurs getting Werner. We're hearing a lot of different opinions. Some saying this could be a really good, shrewd deal. Others saying he's awful, and it shows that Spurs are not serious. How do you, especially as being an Arsenal fan and a rival of Tottenham, view this January loan?
Doing the bare minimum again from their ownership. I'm not surprised. Which is why when they got the new manager, I said, what's changed? When Tottenham fans said they got the Tottenham back. So what's changed? You got an ownership that's never proven anything to you. An ownership that didn't even back. You know, we're talking about good football. There was good football under Poch. Did they back him? They failed you more times than they've ever been there. And that's why I wouldn't trust them. Do you know what I mean? They've never said anything or done anything to show you that they're serious. No matter how much they raise your income, why are they not raising how much money they're spending on players and being serious? The same problem with my club in a different way. There's not one example you can give me that ownership has been serious about going out there and getting the job done. Because if they were serious, they would have learned from Poch and it wouldn't even been now. They would have got Ivan Toney before. They would have went and got other players beforehand and given the manager the structure.
When you say beforehand, when are you referring to? Because if you're referring to the last transfer window, you would see that we focused our areas on other parts of the pitch, which we're now naming a lot of these players to be Tottenham's most important players, i.e. Van de Ven, Vicario, other positions that needed to be signed for, which we
but a lot more needed to be done, bro. Because in reality, I saw your club, I saw under Poch, certain players that was on the bench, wasn't a starter, become starters in your team. They've allowed the regression of your squad. That's the reason why you got a good starting 11, decent starting 11, but your bench is poor. That's been under their ownership. So at the end of the day, it's on to them to put it right. Don't go get big money for Harry Kane and then you're not reinvesting in another striker because you're leaving the manager short. We all knew this. We knew that Son would have a purple patch. He's always been a purple patch player. When he's on it, he's excellent. When he's not, he's not. That's my opinion. And then Richarlison, I've never thought he was the level that a lot of Spurs fans are now talking. I don't think he's all that. And comparing him to Jesus, well, Jesus is not a gunman. So that's not the bar. So at the end of the day, bro, like your ownership has allowed this squad to decay. So for me, not good enough. And the problem is a lot of fans want to, not saying yourself, but a lot of fans, this is what happens in football. It's like, oh, I'm just going to get behind him because I don't want to get bantered. It's the same with Arsenal. Oh, I'm just going to get behind Havertz. You know he's dead. So stop gassing it up. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the problem, bro. Like at the end of the day, Werner ain't before you got Werner, you weren't looking at Werner saying that's what we need. If you wasn't saying that, let's not gas it up now that he's coming. Just keep it real.
If you're not
I
ready,
feel like that's a lot of fans. Look, we all can sit here and admit, and that was the first thing I said. No one's gonna have high expectations of Werner. We all watched him at Chelsea, and we all know what to expect of him, or at least we've seen 2 years of him. We've seen enough of him to know that Werner's he's not gonna come and show us anything new. He's not gonna come and blow us away. That's just not what Timo Werner is. But from what he has shown us, you've shown that he can improve our squad from where it is, because some of the other options we have on the bench, like KJ mentioned, Brian Hill, will come on and bring us absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And Timo Werner's better than that. Our problem is our squad. And right now, improving our squad, even if it's just for 3-4 months whilst we got Son away, it's better than nothing. And that's just the way we got to see it. We got to try and take the options where we can and take the players where we can. And just to go back onto one thing, Son, I don't think he's had a purple patch this season. He's been good all season. He's the second or third highest goal scorer to prove that, and scored more goals than he did the whole of last season. So he's clearly not in a purple patch. He's just showing the levels. But that's what I'll say on that.
Okay. What's interesting about fans, though, as you say, is that Spurs fans were bantering Man United fans 7 days ago because we were linked to Werner, and then he goes there. Equally, though, Man United's version of Standards FC were fuming about the Timo Werner links. It then goes to Tottenham, and now they're fuming that we didn't sign him and Spurs have. You can't make some of this stuff up online. Like, some online fans are, sometimes I think they just look for the thing to be angry about as an example and at least keep it consistent. But I'm glad Man United are not getting him. I don't think he's good enough. I have an horrible feeling he might do something at Tottenham, but that's only because then we'd get bantered for missing out. But I'm going to stay true to myself. This is not a good enough piece of business. The fact that Leipzig are not playing him should speak volumes. In my opinion. Yes, I think he's better than some of the players you guys have got on the bench. I still think you could be more ambitious and go out there and spend a bit more money.
Maybe he's misunderstood like Havertz.
We don't need Werner when we have Werner at home. We have Werner at home, Terry. So we don't need another Werner.
Hoyland Werner. Is what you're saying?
Oh no, we have a bunch of Werners. Do you want me to start? I mean, we have a bunch of players that work off the ball and can't put the ball.
No, we don't have time, Staffy. We don't have time, bro.
That's what I'm saying. So it's easier for me.
Yeah, Man United 2.5 hours, bro. 2.5 hours till that game comes on. So yeah, we certainly can't be doing that. But Spurs are also looking at the Dragusin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But Damasio has just come out and said that AC Milan have entered the race and are serious. LB, will Tottenham be off the power of AC Milan to sign this centre-back, in your opinion?
I don't really know, to be honest with you, bro. Like, I don't know much about this kid, this Dragusin guy. Again, it strikes me as a Spursy type move. Someone that's, I don't know, pretty much unknown. I guess most people probably don't know who this guy is. This is where I think Spurs have gone wrong, probably for the last decade, of instead of getting like the better players, to go and get these more unknown ones. And sometimes it works, but more often than not, they don't really work. I feel like for Spurs, if they really want to take that next step, instead of spending this 30 million quid on this guy, you got to go and spend 50, 60 million quid on one of the world's better centre-backs. This is where you make the true leaps. I just think this is just a Spurs.
Oh, but you do understand that he's coming in as a backup to Romero because we already have 2 centre-backs that we paid.
I don't really rate that. I don't rate that Romero.
And also, you don't rate him. Maybe you don't watch him enough, but to me and to a lot of other people,
I think he's bang average. To be honest with you, your fan base goes on like he's absolutely
facts. LB facts.
Well, I think he's average player. I don't think you need to look. You should look for an upgrade on this.
Romero's so average.
But then that's where we would disagree, because I think he's an absolute Rolls Royce defender. And if you watch him enough, I mean, not just me, the best player in the world agrees with me. So the best player in the world, Lionel Messi, agrees with me. So clearly, it's not just my eyes that think
he's his international teammate, George. Yeah. What do you want him to say? He's crap.
To bring in a player like Dragusin, who you may not know about, but is one of the top young centre-backs in the Serie A, and he's young. That is it. He's 20.
Have you watched Genoa? How many times have you watched Genoa?
He's 21 years of age.
How many times have you watched Genoa?
Fresh out of the Juventus Academy, one of the best academies in Italy. Just like, again,
why is he not at Juventus then? If you come through the Juventus Academy, why is he not playing for Juventus?
Wait. Let's not do that. Can we name?
Wait, did you hear that? 21. When you talk about Man City players at 21, you say they're young, they're unexperienced. This is an experienced young player at 21 years of age coming into our team to be back up to Romero, but also improve our squad from the likes of Eric Dyer and some of the. We didn't even have a centre back to replace him. This improves our squad. If you don't see that, you don't see that. That's fine.
LB, to your point about Spurs need to buy the 50, 60 plus £1 million players to make them contenders. We all laugh at Spurs for saying they don't win trophies, they're a small club, all these things. So, and then when they try to be ambitious, we tell them, "Allow your Spurs, get back in your place. Remember who you are. Go for stay in your lane." But when they're staying in your lane, when they're staying in their lane, it's no, you should be out your lane and go for the big
When have
boys.
they been ambitious, KJ?
Pardon?
When have they been ambitious? Is this an ambitious signing? Is signing Werner ambitious signing? These are ambitious signings.
No, I'm talking about like when they've been linked to like.
Why did these? Why did the? Wait, I need to understand. Why did the signings need to be ambitious? Vicario wasn't an ambitious signing. He was.
Why did they need to be ambitious?
No. But you just said, LB, listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. You didn't know Vicario prior to this window. He's the best goalkeeper in the league. But prior to this summer, he was the best goalkeeper in the league so far this season. He's been the best goalkeeper. You can argue it, be Alisson. You can argue that Husam if you want, but a lot of people will agree.
He's in the debate.
He's been one of the best goalkeepers in the season. Van de Ven, another player which a lot of people said not ambitious, 21-year-old playing at Wolfsburg. From his appearances, a lot of people, the whole league agreed. Everyone who watched football, he's been one of the best centre backs when he was playing in the league.
Okay, let me answer that question.
You don't always need to go and get the 50-60 million.
Okay, let me answer that then, Josh. The reason why that doesn't work. Okay. Let me answer that. The reason why that doesn't work is because whilst it might come off once or twice, it's not going to happen every single time. This is why the Brighton project will eventually fail, because you can't keep on pulling off these mad deals. Eventually, it just won't work.
You say they can't do it, but they continue to do it.
Let me debunk.
They've got
going to go on forever.
They sell another player, and then they bring in João Pedro. João Pedro is one of the top goal scorers in all competitions so far this season.
It's not going to be sustainable.
They're continuously doing it every year. You're saying it's not sustainable, but it's proving to be so.
No, let me debunk LB for a second, because listen, what you just said that right now actually is a little bit hypocritical. I'm not calling you a hypocrite. Just this point's a little bit hypocritical to something you said before. I've watched your show. You're a hypocrite.
Just own it, bro.
I basically said FLB.
Come on,
I said FLB. Listen, I just want to go back on one of your points earlier that you made. Not on the show. You and Husam. I watched you debate on Footy Judge Mo's channel about a week ago. Shout out to Footy Judge Mo, and you was talking about the difference between United spending big on big signings and failing, and City not having to spend big because Pep brings in players before that their names become superstars, and you don't need to splash 80 million here and 100 million there and this and all that. This is your version of what they're doing at Spurs. Obviously, you're a little bit on a bigger scale because you're signing the 40-50 million players because you have that money to spend that way. But you're bringing in Rodgers, but before they become Rodgers. You're bringing in Ake before they become Ake. You bring in those Diaz's before they become Diaz. The only probably the one time you guys really spent big, and we all know why, was on Jack Grealish, because Aston Villa was going to take the biggest bid. And you sat there and you debunked why you guys don't have to spend big fees like United, because United do that and they fail. So when Spurs are doing that, but just on a smaller scale, because when you do compare City to Spurs, they are a smaller scale club compared to you. Why can't he do that, but you guys can do that? Why does he have to show ambition by bringing the big names when you guys are doing the same thing? You're bringing them before they become big names.
Yeah, but we buy better players than Spurs.
Okay, well, you've been doing it for a while because
players. I don't get what you're trying to do, LB. You're not like
you had a better manager. You have a better manager than Ange, of course, but he's been there for a while.
Good players. Spurs cannot.
I'm not saying that, but how do you know that they're not good? If Ange, listen, I think Ange recruitment this season has been good.
Bro, the profile of the player is a level below. Why are Spurs not going for a level higher? You tell me they can't attract these players.
How do you know they can't become that profile? Because Rodri was a reject from Atletico, and look at him now. He's the best DM in the world.
I'm saying if you go for that all the time, it's not going to work, because it's not going to be sustainable, because all them players are not going to be.
How do you know it's going to be all the time, LB? Ange just came in the door.
10 years, Staffy. This is what
Spurs have done. That's not true. Okay, so I can give you. All right, you said we haven't been ambitious. When we went to go get a tried, proven player like Richarlison from Everton, who was proven to an extent of being 5, 8, 10 goals.
Rubbish, bro.
Like he scored goals. He scored goals. A lot more goals than some of the players that you would say are unproven. Like
I think he had 20 goals that season with Everton.
He scored goals. 10, 15 goals a season he used to score at Everton. He signed 60 million, went to last season, scored 2 goals. Ndombele, we tried to go sign an ambitious player, one of the best in Europe for that season, 65 million down the drain. It doesn't always work. We've tried to go out there and spend big money on players, and it's come back to backfire on us. When Tottenham have done the Tottenham way, like we're doing right now, how we have done, and we've got these big players, and then teams like you come in and try to say, we want your player, we want Carl Walker, we want Christian Eriksen, we want all your big. That's how Tottenham work. Tottenham is that club that we signed those players when they weren't known, and we build them up to be something. That is just how Tottenham always will be. We're not going to be Man City and go spend 60, 70 million on a player, but because
you're acting like you spent big on Richarlison. It was a great deal. He scored 10 league goals.
I said it was a bad deal. I said it was a bad deal. You're not listening. I said it was a bad deal. We tried, and it was a bad deal.
Yeah, but it was a bad deal because he's a bad player. That's why it's a bad deal, though, George. That's why it was a bad deal, because he's a bad player. You should never have bought him.
But that's just silly, though, because he scored 15 to 20 goals. He was consistent goal scorer. A lot of players that you think are high value.
That's so useless.
That's apparently useless. But you've got a lot of players that don't even score that now. So do Man United, so did Chelsea, and so do my Arsenal.
We're not talking about those teams.
Why F me, bro? Don't leave my club alone. We're in the mud.
Bro, we have almighty Wigan tonight. Just leave me alone.
Leave it to them. I've got some super chats here I want to go to. First one says, this Spurs guy is delusional. Romero is so bad. His club needs centre-back depth solely because he is a walking red card. And that's elite jokes.
His excuse is Messi said he's good. When Messi's
Romero's not a bad player.
Captain, obviously he's not going to say Romero's crap, is he?
I think Dragusin is a replacement for Romero. Romero, on average, for Spurs, has missed 35% of every season that he's played in through injuries and suspension. That's too much time out. Far too much time out.
Romero's a bozo, but he's not a bad player. People need to stop this narrative that he's a bad player. He has one of the best stats in the league.
I don't think he's a bad player.
But people think it's fashionable just to say that because he plays for Spurs. Yes, he's a bozo and he gets reds. I'll agree on that. But we all adored a lot of center backs that played for our clubs that always got sent off. I used to love Vidic, but he was very rash and he got a lot of the red cards. I'm not putting him on the same level before anyone says I compared him to Vidic.
I understand that, but Vidic didn't miss on average 35% of every season that he played for Man United. He wouldn't have been Vidic if he missed 35% of every season. And that's not a dig at the ability of the man, but as we all know, it's an overused phrase now, but availability is that, well, Standard FC now say accountability is the best ability. I quite like that, to be fair. It's a great adaptation, to be fair.
That's a new one.
Husam says, pay the money. What about Caicedo?
What does that have to do with anything I said? I just don't get it. Like,
to be fair,
by the way, Caicedo right now, just like people are laughing at the Caicedo thing still. We're the ones who are laughing at Caicedo because he made the biggest career mistake of his life. He could be top of the league right now. He probably makes us 5-6 points better. We'd be like 10, 11 points off of whoever. Instead, he's in 10th place with Chelsea. So that's an L on Caicedo, not an L on me.
To be fair, didn't Liverpool offer more, but he went to Chelsea because he had a better wage over there. So technically, you guys did offer.
Yeah, I think he stayed going to Chelsea because he'd already committed to going to Chelsea. I think that's what he said in an interview. I'm paraphrasing slightly. 100 million for Darwin, Arsenal fans. Take it, or would you take it or leave that Northside?
Leave it.
Leave it. There we go. This year from Lemmy says RIP to Franz Beckenbauer. Another absolute proper legend of football gone. Rest in peace, sir. What are everybody's thoughts on Openda, the Portuguese forward?
No, it's the Belgian
forward. Yeah,
Leipzig. He's the guy. He's basically the guy that forced Werner out, and he's been great for them this season.
Is he the guy that scored them goals against City at the? Him. Yeah.
Scored twice against us, I think.
Yeah, I'm calling it now. I think he's one of the more overrated talents in the world right now. I don't think he'll bang in his next move.
Why is he overrated in your opinion?
He's not clinical enough. I think he's in the top 3 of big chances missed, or top 4.
His finishing was good against us, but I don't know about his big chances missed.
Hey, listen, 1 goal against City don't mean you're good.
Yeah. No, I agree.
There we go. Another interesting story that's circulating today, and it involves Chelsea maybe buying somebody else. And I know we ain't got a Chelsea fan on the panel, but reports coming from Italy that they are studying the possibility of moving for Paulo Dybala, 12 million euro release clause if he's purchased before the 15th of January. Would that be a good move for Chelsea, or a good move for any Premier League team, in fact, Northside, going for Dybala at this stage of his career?
I'd say no, thank you again. No, thank you. I'd pass. I don't see what is he going to do? How is he going to elevate them? Like, what's he going to bring? Is he bringing goals? Is he going to be? What's he doing? I don't really get it. Do you know what I mean? I think his time's come and gone, man. Like, yeah, not for me. If I was a Chelsea fan, nah. I think it stinks of Werner, like a Werner deal, just doing the bare minimum and wrapping it up in, we haven't got the money or this and that. I'm sure Chelsea got money, but I wouldn't take it. I'd say nah. I don't see how he pushes the needle.
He's too injury prone. He's way too injury prone.
What position are they bringing into play? Because
He's basically.
Dybala is one of the most overrated footballers in the world.
No, maybe right now last season he was decent, but like in terms of like just you bought Nkunku, who's basically Dybala's profile, but you know can stay fitter in a season, and he's younger and quicker and he's
saying
more
that while
modern.
he's injured is crazy, KJ.
What you say?
As I'm saying that while he's injured again is crazy.
Yeah, he's out again, isn't he? Oh, then Kunku, he's done again.
Oh man, I didn't even know that. Crazy.
Yeah, he's got legs, mate. Man's got legs made of biscuits, 100%.
If you think what you call it, and Kunku's got bad injuries, you think what's Dybala going to do in the Premier League with his biscuit body?
Yeah, he's definitely not built for the Premier League. I'll tell you that.
I don't even think it's just about that. I think Chelsea are missing a goal scorer. Dybala's not a goal scorer. He's probably got less goals than Giroud in the past 3-4 seasons. Like the guy doesn't get goals for Roma. He's not a guy that's gonna. He's sort of a player that you can bring in, play in the 10, but like a hybrid 10 role. He doesn't.
He's got. I mean, he's played 55. Sorry, he's played 55 games for Roma and got 24 goals as a second striker. That's not bad.
But as a second striker, and
they need an out-and-out striker, innit?
How many of them are penalties, Terry?
I don't know.
Not that I'm discounting penalties, but I agree with the guys here. Listen, I think he's a good player. I don't think he's overrated. Someone called him overrated. I forgot who said he's overrated. I think he's a good player, but some of these players just fit certain leagues, and we've seen this in the past. So many players come from overseas, and the way they play is so technical, and they don't. It's very hard to match the Premier League's physicality because I don't think any league in the world has athletes like the Premier League. The Premier League is filled with athletes. When you come in and if he gets a crunching tackle against Sheffield or Brentford on his first game and then he's out for about 10 more games, then the money is going to look like it's a waste. The Serie A is a very good league. It's just very slow paced and technical, and he's a slow paced technical player. He couldn't even play in the World Cup, so let alone coming into the Premier League. I think he's a good player, but he needs to stay where he is.
I'm the only one here I think who thinks he's a good signing. I think he's a good signing. The reason why I think he's
Chelsea,
a good signing
not for Chelsea though, Husam.
No, he is a good signing just for Chelsea, actually. I wouldn't take him at my club. I don't think anyone on this stream should take him. But because the average age at Chelsea is 13, they need someone who's a bit older. They need someone who actually has experience in this game. He's an okay goal scorer. He's probably a better goal scorer than all the Chelsea forwards, to be fair. I think he'll probably do well. He's injury prone. That's the thing that they need to be worried about. But overall, I think he's a good player. I still don't think that's what Chelsea need. Chelsea need a robot who's 32 years old, who can't play football, but can just put the ball in the back of the net. That's what they need. They just need a bot who can just score goals. That's it. They need a fox in the box, Gonzalo Higuain type stuff. That's what
they need. Like you know what? They should go get Edin Dzeko from Galatasaray. That's who they should.
The perfect guy.
That's the thing, like it's a dying, like what Chelsea need is a dying breed, and it's very rare right now to have them. Like Man United are trying to find theirs in Højlund, like Liverpool tried to find theirs in Nunes, and it's just not working. You got names like Boniface and Osimhen coming up, but you don't know what they will be like in the Premier League. The only robot that we know that works in terms of goal scoring is Haaland. But there's only one. You know what I mean? There's only one of him. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for Chelsea to find this clinical striker. Because how many strikers they've been through the last 10, 15 years? And has any of them worked?
Whichever striker they buy, they can't give him number 9. I think that's the rule of thumb. Because the number 9 is just...
Go get Julian Alvarez. They got 2 clinical strikers at City, and we're all struggling for one. So they could share the wealth. Give us one.
What about the suggestions? If not, I've seen a lot of fans of Chelsea. I've seen Arsenal fans talk about this as well. A 6-month loan deal they're talking for Karim Benzema.
That would be amazing. I'm not gonna lie, but I think any club, let's be real here, any club that can get their hands on Benzema for 6 months, he's taking your team to the next level. Because when you're talking about Benzema, you're talking about a clutch player, a proper forward, and a proper 9, someone that can. He doesn't need to be stuck up top and just leave him up there. He's going to get involved in the game. He's going to, as you say, bring that young team forward, make the team better. And I just think every part about Karim Benzema game, even at this age, he's still like a level above a lot of 9s in the world.
I wouldn't get him if I was Chelsea, though. Because I just don't really see the point in getting him if I was Chelsea. Chelsea, for me, need to look more long-term. Yeah, well, what Chelsea getting Karim Benzema for? I don't really understand.
The team that could use him best is probably Arsenal. I'll be honest, Arsenal.
But that's what I'm saying. I think anyone that's like got to go for the league, or maybe like really needs him to push into the top 4 or whatever, I think it's good. But like for me, Chelsea, that's the wrong move. Chelsea needs to look at their future, not just the next 6 months. But yeah, if I was Arsenal, you could get him. Bloody hell, that'd be wild.
Would you take him Northside? I know he's obviously in his mid to late 30s now, but he's won it all. It hasn't quite worked for him in Saudi, but I think a lot of the players that have gone there have realised that the overarching standard out there isn't maybe where they expected and want to come back. I think Henderson, a few others. Would you take him at Arsenal for the next 6 months to try and get this Premier League title or Champions League medal?
Yeah, listen, I don't be watching the Saudi league, so I don't know if he's still the same Benzema I saw in La Liga. I don't know if he's dipped. So that's a conversation. Has he gone down? I don't know. I don't watch that league. But if he's still the same Benzema I remember, yeah, I'll take him. Him and Ivan Toney, cool.
I watched him in the Club World Cup Northside, and he looked a bit slower, but the players he was playing with in the same team was slow and couldn't create for him, man. I think at the end of the day, I think if you're a goal scorer, Husam was speaking about this before, you're either born with it or you're not. This guy's a goal scorer. If you can get the ball to him in the box, he'll score goals. He'll score more goals than Jesus. He'll score more goals than Eddie Nketiah. Yes, he might not be running around as quick.
It's not difficult, to be fair.
Well, it's not difficult. You're right, but he won't run around as much as them guys. If you can put the ball in the box for him, he'll score goals. But listen, this again, I don't see Arsenal making a move like this. I don't see anyone making a move like this because
I think Benzema improves everyone in the league, other than City. Because City have Benzema would improve us as well. Benzema is a player that would make everyone better, in my opinion. But I don't know if he leaves Saudi right now, to be honest with you, because I don't know if he's.
You guys do remember how much money he's on, though? Do you guys remember? He's on 1.1 mil a week.
That's mad.
No, seriously, I'm not even joking. He gets paid 4.3 mil a month.
Flipping hell, bro.
We couldn't sign Kane. Let me remind you guys, we couldn't sign Kane in United because we signed Casemiro and we couldn't put another player on a 300+ K contract a week.
All that.
Now you got this guy who's getting paid over $1 million.
I think if he leaves, because the talk is that he wants out of the Saudi Pro League. If he leaves, he knows no one in Europe paying him 1.1 million a week. It's a different. He knows he's coming back to Europe and it's going to be £200,000-300,000 a week.
I think even
that's
that
long
age,
term.
his age, he's looking at 100K a week, man.
Yeah. I think 150.
It's not even him, but his club, though. Is his club going to pay over 75% of his wage for him to go play somewhere else? I'll tell you, as an Arab myself, I wouldn't be paying for someone to go entertain someone else.
But a lot of their deals are like that.
Husam is across the border from them, so ask him about his opinion.
But a lot of the deals are like that, though, where players can come in, but the way it kind of works is, so I know the Ronaldo's deal was like this, because when we were out in Qatar, they were talking about it out there in a lot of detail. A lot of it's about the image rights. So what may happen is the Saudi Pro League may maintain the image rights to Benzema, which is huge, but he's allowed to go and play football elsewhere, which means the club that actually is paying his salary now where he plays is going to pay a lot less. Because most of the time when you see someone on £500,000 a week, 50-60% of that is image rights, as opposed to just his footballing ability. So I don't think it would cost a European club exorbitant amounts of money. Well, it's all exorbitant compared to what we all earn, if you get what I mean. But listen, as a United fan, I think Benzema would be great. Just even if it is just 6 months, he comes in, bit of speed, bit of legs around him at the age he needs that. This man, if he joined any of our teams in the Prem, maybe barring Man United, who are not very good, I still think he'd score 10 to 15 goals between now and the end of the season. He's that good a football player. And I was saying it for the last 2 or 3 years in the Champions League. I feel he's one of the most underrated European football players I've ever come across in my life. And part of that is because of the stars he was playing with at times at Madrid, like Cristiano Ronaldo. But maybe because he wasn't in the French teams that were tearing things up at the time because of situations that were going on. But I'd love him to come in. And I think for a lot of our clubs, Arsenal included, definitely Chelsea, definitely Man United, that experience, that leadership, that winning know-how would be so important. I think the
even us, I take him at Liverpool as well.
Yeah, at Liverpool. Like this guy isn't missing those. A lot of Darwin Núñez's chances are not because he's fast and he misses them. If Benzema had those chances, you guys might even be 10 points clear at the top of the league. If Darwin Núñez,
I agree with that. Only thing I disagree with what you said was the career conversation. I think it's the other way around for me. I think if we're talking compared to the greatest strikers of all time, I'd say Benzema is more overrated than underrated.
No.
Yes. I think Karim Benzema.
I swear he's got more goals for Real Madrid than Raul. I think he's the 3rd or 4th highest goal scorer in Champions League history. How can you be overrated? He's not just a poacher. He's technically proficient.
I agree.
How can he be
with Husam,
overrated?
because I just feel
that's time as well.
I
Because he
feel
spent
like,
a lot of time at
like he had such a long time. He had such a long time at Real Madrid, so a lot of those stats are just inflated because no other player spent 10, 11, 12 years at Real Madrid, sort of.
Hang on, I'm going to probably get this wrong. I swear Raul spent his whole goddamn career there.
He went to Schalke after, but I get your point.
He played for Real Madrid. He played 555 games. And Raul was playing for Madrid when domestically they were far better than they've been in the last 15 years.
Played in the Galacticos team and they didn't.
Come on now. Like, to outscore Raul. Come on now.
Benzema wasn't even the best one.
I just don't think that is that good because clearly Raul just didn't score that much and he's been overrated because if you look at Benzema's stats and his years... No, I'm just being honest because if you look at Benzema's stats for goals, just for goals, throughout every season, he used to struggle. There was a period throughout his career, probably about 4 or 5 years, he struggled to get 15 to 20 goals a season.
Hang on a minute. I'm going to read this out here. In the Liga, first year, 9 goals, cool. Then 26, 32, 20, 24, 22, 28, 19, 12, 30, 27, 30, 44, 32.
That's all comps.
Okay, if I just do... yeah, okay, but this is the thing. You're playing in all comps. And this man wasn't... You've also got to remember... No, because he isn't just playing in one competition. You're not a legend at Real Madrid just for La Liga. It's everything, right? Also, he had Ronaldo as the main guy. The system was built for Ronaldo to put the ball in the back of the net. He was playing second fiddle to Ronaldo and was still picking up between 20 and 30 goals a season, more than Raul. To say Raul is overrated when he's one of the greatest strikers in European football history is a madness.
I just think we've seen throughout the past 10 years, we've seen quite a few strikers better than Benzema. There was a long while with Benzema.
Who?
Suarez, absolutely clear.
Not clear.
No, he is. He's absolutely clear.
What do you mean clear of him? How clear? How clear?
I mean, they're not in the same conversation for strikers. Suarez is one of the best strikers ever, and he's not up.
One has a Ballon d'Or, one doesn't. So.
Yeah, this is disrespectful on Benzema.
Let me tell you something. What Benzema did... No, I'm not going to disrespect Luis Suarez.
Talking about the Ballon d'Or thing, he outscored Messi and Ronaldo.
Luis Suarez is a superior box striker compared to Benzema. But Benzema's all-round game as a striker, this is why he fit with Ronaldo when Ronaldo was playing up front, and he's a striker and he wasn't playing up front. What he did in that campaign when he carried Real Madrid to that Champions League, when they weren't even a good team that year, the way he carried them against Chelsea, he carried them against City, against I forgot who was they played in the knockout rounds. What he did in that campaign alone is superior to anything that Suarez did. Suarez doesn't have a single campaign where he carried a team to a Champions League like that, like Benzema did. And because he wasn't the highest rated one from the BBC, it was what were they saying that?
That was due to a serious lack of talent as well. Like you're saying it like Messi and Ronaldo were done at the time. So like, who was the guy that just came after
Benzema was 34 when he done that. Benzema
and he got credit and he got the Ballon d'Or. But Suarez outscored prime Ronaldo, prime Messi. Suarez is one. I agree with George. Suarez is clear of Benzema. I think Benzema.
Can I ask a question here? When you say clear, because clear for me is this. Zidane is clear of Scott McTominay. They're not even on the same page, right? Zidane is clear of, I don't know, Jordan Henderson. I just think when you say Suarez is clear,
but that's when you're doing two extremes.
No, I'm not. Clear means absolutely not even in the same conversation as each other. I think that's too extreme. I don't think it's wrong to say I think Suarez is a better player, but you are not talking about clear blue water between those two players, surely.
Hey, that's actually the point. Him saying that Suarez is clear of Benzema actually proves why he's underrated. Because if you rated him, you would have never said that.
No,
you think Suarez is clear of him, but you also think he's overrated.
I said at the time, I said Benzema, I rate very highly. Benzema's best year of his career coming like the last 3-4 seasons at Real Madrid. That's when you saw the best of Benzema. When Ronaldo left, and like you said, the onus got put on him to put the team in his back. That's when you saw the very best of Benzema. But Benzema...
He was amazing playing with Ronaldo. He just never got the credit.
When he was surrounded by the best players, when he was surrounded by Bale, when he was surrounded by Ronaldo, Benzema was just a hidden guy in the shadows.
No, he wasn't, bro. You think he was, but he wasn't.
When Suarez was surrounded by Neymar and Messi, Suarez was that guy.
Let me tell you something. That season where Ronaldo broke the UEFA Champions League goal record, go check how many goals he scored before he reached the knockout stages. Just go Google it right now. See how many goals he scored before they got to the knockout stage. Because if it wasn't for Benzema carrying the team to that round, when he started bagging hat tricks, and then he broke the record, I forgot how many goals was it, 16 for Ronaldo, something like that. When they reached that stage and he started scoring a few hat tricks, he wasn't bagging it in the group stage. Benzema was bagging for them game after game, but because Ronaldo was getting the hat tricks versus Bayern and them, everyone gave him the glory, and rightfully so. Ronaldo's Ronaldo, but Benzema was doing the Robin job, and no one thought he was Batman because Ronaldo was on his team. The minute Ronaldo left, he won him a Champions League, and he had the single best.
Straight, why do we do revisionism? For 3 years straight, Real Madrid wanted to sell Benzema. Remember when he was linked to Arsenal about 2-3 summers in a row, and they were waving the white flag at him? There was a year he scored 5 goals, a year he scored 11 goals, a year he scored 13 goals. The revisionism of Benzema is because after Ronaldo left,
Benzema hit double-doubles every season. Bro.
One second. Let's not act like post-Ronaldo Benzema is the same as like before. Completely different levels. And I'm not even talking about sharing the shine with someone else or whatever. I'm talking about his actual performances on the actual pitch. I know Real Madrid fans. Real Madrid fans at the time were asking for a Higuain to start ahead of Benzema. People have had Benzema was a meme. He was actually a meme online because of how
exactly, which is why he's underrated. Thank you. This is why he's underrated. Okay. They also booed Bale.
Let me land. I don't think Benzema is comparable to R9 or Henry or Suarez. I don't even think Benzema has overtaken Lewandowski. I'm taking Lewandowski and Eto'o over Benzema.
I also think talking about R9 as an example and Suarez is again, you're putting Suarez in that category and you're just disregarding Benzema. If Lewandowski and Suarez are in the R9 category,
no, not
then
Lewandowski.
Not Lewandowski.
Well, you just mentioned him in that phrase.
No, I mentioned him in
Benzema. But you'll leave this one out, right? I'm just looking at this now. Suarez scored 27 Champions League goals, which is good. Won the Champions League. Benzema scored 90 goals in the Champions League. 90 goals.
When did Benzema ever miss a season in Champions League? From his Leon
yeah, when did Benzema
hang on. So why did Luis Suarez miss games in the Champions League?
Because he had a different start of his career.
So
I can answer that. No agenda.
Again, but we don't need to go into it in detail. Just because Luis Suarez in his earlier career wasn't good enough to be in the Champions League. How can
no.
Hang on. Let me finish my point. Luis Suarez was not playing for clubs that were Champions League level for certain points in his career. How can you take that away from Benzema, who was good enough to?
You just
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Can I answer the question now? Luis Suarez tore up the 2010 World Cup. Just because a player, people do this to Mo Salah as well. Haha, Saka at 21 versus Salah at 21. Just because Luis Suarez grew up in Uruguay and had a much more difficult career path to get to the top level does not mean that when he got to the top level, he was not much better than Karim Benzema. Luis Suarez was at Groningen and then Ajax and then Liverpool, where he did not even have a Champions League appearance. And then after that, when he moved to Barcelona, that's when he consistently played in the Champions League. So that's a matter of timing. That's not a matter of like, oh my God, let's just compare X and Y. Groningen, Ajax, Liverpool, etc. is a much more different career path than Lyon to Real Madrid.
Okay, hang on. But he was in Europe from the age of 20. Okay, he was here and he didn't start playing regular Champions League football for 7 or 8 years. You cannot take that away. Again, everyone has different career paths because I think if you look at Jamie Vardy, now I'm not putting Jamie Vardy on the level of these players, this is hypothetical. He has been he's an iconic Premier League striker. But he didn't start doing it until his mid-20s. You can't discount that from him. But you can't turn around and go, right, we're going to ignore Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Harry Kane, and Ian Wright's goal record from the age of 18 until they were 25, just because Jamie Vardy wasn't at that level at that time. You can't take it away.
I never said that, Terry. I'm just explaining the context. And by the way, to Jamie Vardy, the context also applies. Jamie Vardy just had a more difficult path to get to the Premier League. It's not Luis Suarez's fault. He was born in Uruguay in the middle of nowhere, got scouted by Groningen.
Hang on a minute. You're talking like we're in the 1930s still. European clubs have been taking young South Americans for the last 30 years. It's not like he was
scouted by Groningen.
It's crazy. But if we want to take away from the amount of games played, in 0.59, in 59% of the games that Benzema played in the Champions League, he scored in. Suarez scored in, but it's still very good, 37%. So his rate of goals per game was getting close to double that. So listen, I'm going to say this now. I don't think there's any wrong with saying
double. There's no way near double, Terry. Don't do that.
Let me mention
it is. One's at nearly 60%, one's at over 30%. That's not that far away from being double, is it?
It's closer to 40% though. So if you're gonna round up for that one, you're gonna round up for both of them. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, there's over 20% difference between the two of them. That's significant. Would you want a player that scores in 20% more games or 20% less games?
I want a player who's better, and Suarez is just better.
No, you said, listen, but that wasn't the question. End of the day, I have no issue with people saying Suarez is better. But saying he's clear, like there's no conversation, I think that's personally.
So let me mention. I just want to mention a couple stats because I was looking at both of their. What's that? I was looking at both of their Champions League stats. Okay, this is Suarez's stats. His best 2 seasons when he first went to Barcelona, right after they sold him from Liverpool. He had the first campaign 10 games, 7 goals. The season after, when they won the Champions League, 9 games, 8 goals. Okay. When he reached the same age that Benzema, by the way, carried his team and won the Champions League, where I'm going to mention in a second, he had 2 seasons in a row where he had 10 games, only 1 goal. If you guys remember, he scored that 1 goal against Liverpool when they knocked out Barcelona. That was his first goal of the competition. One second. When you go to Benzema at the same age, Benzema's listen to me. All right. So his best campaign is 9 games, 8 goals. Benzema's best campaign is 12 games, 15 goals, led them to a Champions League win. That was the same age Suarez was scoring 1 goal a campaign versus in that game against Liverpool. So the comparison to say that he's clear of him when he's superior in the best competition in Europe is very disingenuous.
No, I don't get this. You're saying superior in goal scoring, but then you're also forgetting that Suarez is one of the highest assisters of all time. I'm sorry, you're just not taking into consideration one of the most creative players of all time, 7th on the all-time list for assists, above Ronaldo, above some of these players that you guys are going to say all-timers. So he isn't just a goal scorer. He was a creator for his other players. So when he wasn't scoring for Messi and Ronaldo, for Neymar and Messi, he was assisting them. Just as impressive. So please.
And by the way, Staffy,
I want to move on from this. I'm just going to end it by saying I've got no issue with Suarez. People saying Suarez is better, but the clear notion I think is just disrespectful. And I'm going to end that debate on
the definition of clear.
Well, that's why I asked you guys. No, and you haven't given me an answer.
Based on what you said, then no. Of course not.
So what? Yeah, I mean, clear means exponentially better, leaves them for dust. They're nowhere near each other. Clearly, that's what clearly means. It means there's like.
Okay, if I'm naming the top 5 goals in the last 20 years.
No. Hang on. That's what it means to me. If you're clear of. No, it's not about what it means to me.
I said the word clear, so you can't tell me what it meant in my words.
No, we are not redefining words. If you are clear of something, it means you are.
But then you went and said Scott McTominay and Zidane, like that isn't what's
how far clear. Give me an example, George. Give me an example of how far away clear is.
Clear is Suarez is in this category, like Husam said. Benzema's not in the same category.
No. See, that doesn't make sense.
He's in another category.
Explain. Answer this question. No. You're fake it. Wrong analogy. Then, how far is clear? What's the distance between explain what clear is. No, I'm clear with someone. No, you're using the wrong example. Then, Jules, answer the question. How far is clear?
I'm not using the wrong example. How far is the distance
of clear? What clearness is there between the two of them?
You're trying to do how far is English? How is it clear in the English language? I don't care.
You just used English language, so explain
it. George, you even listen to that.
George, basically, how about this? In your tier system, in your tier ranking, is clear 1 tier. If you're 1 tier above someone,
how is it clear? It's next to them.
You're a mute.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not in the same conversation. Is my point.
That's insane.
That's insane. We're going to move on then. We'll move on then, boys. We're going to move on because we've got lots more to talk about. Suarez took over when Messi, and by the way, I think Scott McTominay and Zidane are not in the same conversation. Again, you've got to define it better than that for me. Suarez took over when Messi was injured, won the, I can't pronounce that word, within, that's the
high Atletico, won La Liga, and he won Suarez the goddamn treble.
We rate Suarez. It's not like me and Terry don't rate him.
Guys, let me get through these super chats, please. Sorry, Messi. When I can't read this, it's screwing my dyslexia up. I swear to God, it's so hard with the way he written these words.
Okay, you want me to read it? I can read it for you if you want. He
Try
took
reading
over
that,
when
please.
Messi was injured, won the Pichichi with CR7 and Messi there. He then went to Atletico, won La Liga, and Suarez won a goddamn treble. That's what
Thank you. There we go. Thank you very much indeed. Look at
Faris Mubagna.
my dyslexia is gone, boys. 24 goals and 9 assists. Norwegians call him the new bon. Well, I'll take a look at him, my bro. Thank you very much indeed. People want Messi versus Ronaldo. No, that doesn't ever happen on the football. The football terrace doesn't do that debate. It's actually
Messi won it.
It's not even about that. It's not even about that. It's just both parties slag each other's player off, and neither can be slagged off. They're that good. It's crazy. It's
George is going to tell me one is clear of the other. That's what he's going to do. So we can't have this debate around them.
Also, a link to Arsenal at the moment. Savachas the Belgian journalist, guy I know pretty well. I spoke to him today. Has stated that talks are advancing between Everton, Arsenal, and Onana. Personal terms and club agreements are not agreed yet, but his words to me were he states and he feels that it's very likely that the deal will go through. Northside, your thoughts on Onana to Arsenal to bolster your midfield?
Yeah, good signing. Not enough to win the league, though.
When you say good sign, where do you see him playing, and how do you think he'll improve you?
Well, he can rotate for Declan Rice as Partey's always injured, so he could be used in that way. I wouldn't see him playing over Rice, but we need backup. El Nene is not good enough. Probably backup. It looks like Partey, we're going to get rid of him. I don't know what's going on. He's fit at times for his nation, not fit for Arsenal. So, yeah, we need a rotation and probably be rotation for Declan Rice. But as I said, that signing alone isn't good enough for us to win the league.
Do you not see him playing together with Rice, potentially him in the 6 and pushing Rice into 8? And if so, does that make you guys better? I'm asking your opinion.
Yeah, I think Declan Rice can do the Xhaka role. I've seen this season at times him going into the box in space. The last minute winner against Luton, I do think he can do the Xhaka role, and obviously he can defend. So it's an upgrade on that sense. And then you can have Onana sitting shielding the back four. In that sense, it makes us better, a little bit more solid. But yeah, I don't mind the signing. I think it's a good signing. I like Onana, so I'm not going to change on that. But that alone isn't enough for me to believe that we're going to win the league.
I think Onana is an absolutely horrible signing for Arsenal. The reason why I think Onana is a horrible signing for Arsenal is because Onana is just not an Arsenal player. He's not press resistant. He's not really good on the ball, in my opinion. I don't think he can play the Arsenal style whatsoever. Onana is the perfect type of player, I think, for a Crystal Palace, for a team who wants to counter-attack, maybe park the bus a little bit. But in terms of press resistant, getting pressed high up the pitch, or when you got the ball as well, like in the DM area and getting pressed by Champions League clubs, stuff like that, I don't think Onana works. I think Onana is a dreadful signing for Arsenal and not what they need at all. I don't think he's an out-and-out DM either. I don't think he has, in my opinion, I don't think he has enough, footballing ability to be able to shield the back four by himself. Like, I don't think he's not like a natural DM, in my opinion. I think he's more of an 8 who's like more on the defensive side. But I think Onana would be an absolutely horrible signing for Arsenal. I don't think he's what they need at all. Yeah,
I would be confused if they pay north of 60 million for him. Like, it's kind of like we was talking about Spurs spending money on a striker, right? Arsenal definitely need to spend money on a striker like ASAP. Like that Liverpool game was a massive indicator to say you need to buy a striker. I don't know what Edu.
Just the Liverpool game, KJ. Has all season not been an indicator?
The whole season, but like if you want to go one game, that game, they rounded the keeper. How can you round the keeper and still miss? That man rounded the keeper, had an open net, had so many, hit the crossbar, so many opportunities.
Big up to Trent for stopping that.
Hey, listen, Trent was good at that game, so was Kanai. But they've had so many opportunities in that game that if I'm a sporting director, I can just watch that game once and be like, that team needs a striker. And they need to spend the money on a striker. They need that. So if you're telling me it's either Onana or a striker, you buy the striker.
What is that a question? Because that's not even a question. I agree with you. You go for a striker.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that should be the question in Arsenal Football Club, because you ain't spending.
No, we got Nketiah, man. Nketiah's in the room, man. Don't worry. But if you don't believe, Arsenal won't win because you don't believe. It's all down to you then if we don't win the league. You know what I mean? Got to believe. Just believe. You know what I mean? Everybody's a believer. So yeah, whatever, innit? We ain't gonna get it. We all know it. My club does the bare minimum, and everybody will lap it up, say it's a 10 out of 10 window. That's how it goes at Arsenal. And then only when it's mathematically impossible to win the league and we're out of all competitions will they see it. That's how it's been for the last few years.
Northside, how worried are you about like other teams overtaking? Because of course, you're fourth in the
Worried?
table. Right?
I ain't worried about nothing. I'm not the one doing emergency streams.
No, when big way worried then. So
I'm
what is your thought
right now.
process in knowing that if you do not sign anyone this window, where do you think you'll finish? Like, do you think that that's going to make a big impact on where you
It
finish?
doesn't matter because my fan base will just move the goalposts, bro.
Is it?
Not about your fan base. I just want to know your opinion as an Arsenal fan. From your
My opinion is this. My opinion is my club's never going to win anything because the majority of the fan base never want to demand it. They don't demand it.
Wait. No, sir. What's the difference between your fan base believing that you win the league and demanding to win the league?
No, they don't demand for the club to do better. All my concerns from last year still remain, which is why we're crumbling because nothing's been addressed. Everything is poor. Even the players that we were praising last season have been worse. The play style is worse. The bench is practically the same. Nothing has improved. So I can't believe on something that would be delusional. Nothing's changed. So what do we expect? And now we can't say bigger fish to fry for the Champions League. So yeah, man, trust Mikel Arteta, bro. The Spanish Joey from Friends, bro. Get behind him. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Football ain't changed. I don't understand on the internet. A lot of people want to make a bigger conversation than what it is. It's, you either get over the line or you don't. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, this manager ain't good enough, and he's never been good enough. So this is what you get. Arsenal won the little walls of, oh, our project manager lasted longer than Ole and Lampard. He just ain't good enough. He ain't good enough. And the disrespect, yeah, on top managers these days is a disgrace because you can't just be a project youth manager, come in and just win it. You know, and we've seen it. You can't just have a project youth team and win it. What was the last one that did it? What? Class of 99? And your manager wasn't a project youth manager. You know what I mean? Fergie blended experience and young players excellently. So it's a disrespect on what's happened before. It's a disrespect on this league. And it is what it is. On one hand, fans say it's the hardest league in the world. The other, and then Arsenal fans want to say, oh, you can have a bunch of youngsters and a novice that's never done anything and believe that he can get it over the line. It's more hope than anything else. So it is what it is. I'm chilling because this is my redemption arc.
Can I ask you a question, bro? If you were to sack Arteta, and I understand that question, I said at the beginning of the season, it's either win-win in my opinion this year for Arsenal. You either win with Arteta, great, everyone's happy, or you sack him because he doesn't win. But you've built this squad that's got a lot of capable players in it. There's definitely some holes still, like most clubs tend to have. Do you think if you sacked him and brought in, I'm going to throw some names at you, brought in a Diego Simeone, you brought in an Ancelotti, I'm just throwing those two in example. Do you think this squad is good enough to win with a couple of additions? Or I saw a lot of Arsenal fans yesterday on their sort of match reactions and their stream sort of state that a complete rebuild is needed again, that you're actually in a really big overall mess. Like, I get, yeah, I laughed when I heard that too. Like, where do you personally see it? Is it a case of get me that prolific goal scorer, get me a better manager, and we're ready to go?
It's funny that they need to rebuild the whole squad. They told me that I had to get behind, and it takes time, and he needs more money and more players. This is his players. What's he done? What, over 20 signings? Either re-signing players and players that he signed. So that's crazy. That just shows you they don't believe in what they really say, innit? But for me, I think you get a new manager and that bench needs to be addressed. And yeah, a lot of that bench needs to go because it's the same bench with either players that are not good enough, which is why we're struggling to get rid of him, like Cedric, or a lot of players that have been failing for numerous years, like Nketiah, like Reece Nelson, that never did anything. So yeah, I think you get a new manager and a lot of these players, a majority of this squad needs to be moved on because they're not good enough. But yeah, it's funny from super fans to say that because they bash us to keep believing in it. And then as soon as it's, 2-3 games lost, all of a sudden emergency streams and we need to rip up the squad. Just be happy. Just back it. That's all I say to them. Just back it. Just keep backing
I think,
it.
by the way, Northside is 100% right because I think Arteta's being stubborn. And if they sign anything other than a forward this January, it proves that Northside and everyone on that side of the argument is 100% right. And I'll tell you why. If they do not sign a forward, if they sign Onana, you know they're taking the piss. I'll tell you why. Arteta is essentially saying, screw all this that the whole world can see, that it takes us 16 shots to score a goal. Screw all of this stuff. I'm just going to do my own thing and prove that I can win the league with Martinelli, Nketiah, Saka, and etc. And he's being stubborn, and it's going to come back to bite him and him only because he's the one who will pay the repercussions for this loyalty to these players. Yesterday, once again, by the way, I think Saka now, like, Terry wanted an example of clear. Salah's clear of Saka. That's an example of clear right there. They're not the same category. And it's proven by games yesterday. Arsenal yesterday, I'm a Liverpool fan, right? Yesterday, any serious club is 4-0 up against us in the first half alone. Alone in the first half, you're 4-0 up. But if Arteta is looking at this team and thinking, oh, you know what we need? Onana from Everton to fix it, then he deserves everything he gets. He deserves to get sacked. He deserves to get lambasted by his fan base because he's just being stubborn and he's being loyal to players who don't deserve his loyalty. Martinelli got 2 goals in 18 games. Nketiah is their second highest goal scorer, which is embarrassing. Trossard can't even get a game. Emil Smith-Rowe scored 10 goals like 2 years ago. He can't even get a game. He can't even get a sniff right now. It's just the whole thing is a mess, and he's one of the main reasons for it. Stuff like first half, I don't blame him. But when I see stuff like Onana and we're not going to sign a forward and blah, 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 then he's 100% at fault.
He inherited that stubbornness from Pep, but Pep usually backed it more times than none. Pep actually backed it, and this is why we sit here and more times than not, we don't really debate Pep. We talk about it as it's going through, and you're like, but you know, LB would tell you most times, I still trust that Pep is going to figure it out because he's proven more times than not that he'll figure something out. He'll make the mess, but he'll clean it. And I don't think Arteta has done that yet. And people get in their emotions with people like Northside sit here and call out this bullshit because he hasn't earned his stripes yet. He hasn't done anything where he could show you, I'll make a mess, but I'll clean it up and I'll go ahead and I'll win a trophy and I'll turn the season around. He hasn't done that. He's bottled top 4 before when he was sitting 4th place and lost it to Spurs in the last 3-4 games of the season. Last year, he went 93% of the way, leading the league, and then he bottled in the last 7%. This season, he's persisting with this Havertz thing. And let me tell you why it's annoying to watch. He signed Havertz to fix all his issues. He thinks he's a Swiss knife. He's just going to use him whenever he needs something. So in the first game of the season, when they played them in the Community Shield, he played as a false 9. And then the next game, when the league started or whatever, remember when they start putting Partey in right back, and everyone was like, it's not the right thing to do. Play him and Rice in the midfield together. Instead, he takes him away from the false 9 and he puts him in the midfield. Now he loses Jesus last game and he uses him again in the front as a striker. Why do you keep using Havertz like he's the solution for everything? He's clearly not the solution. If anything, he has made this team worse. And I'll tell you why he made this team worse. Not just because of the personnel that he is. The way he plays football impacted some of the people around him. It's like you put a bad apple next to good apples and then they end up becoming bad. He thought that when he puts him in this team, he's going to blend in and he's going to play well like the team did last year. You look at Martinelli as an example, and I think I said this the last time I was on the top 6. I think Jess was here. And I was explaining his impact in that left center mid position, how it affected Martinelli. I said that Xhaka, not only did he had GA, he had 14 goals and assists last season. Not only is his GA, he had one of the best progressive stats when it comes to passing and dribbling in that team, compared to Havertz, who came in just to bring in the extra goals. So when you lose that progression as a left winger, now you're getting impacted because instead of playing next to a proper midfielder who actually knows how to defend and he passes the ball to me more in higher positions high up the pitch, now I have to cover for a left center mid who low-key plays like a second striker as a shadow striker. So now the goals dried up from there. Also impacted Odegaard, also impacted Rice because that midfield now is imbalanced. Instead of giving him balance in that midfield, you're persisting with Havertz there. I think he's dying on his own sword, and I think we all said that in the beginning of the summer. I made this analogy yesterday. I said Arteta was this close to winning the league, and instead of fixing that small issue that he had, which is only the 7%, he decided on the job while he's busy fixing something to bring in a puzzle. You can't focus on your job and you're trying to solve a puzzle at the same time. You can't multitask like that. I'm like, why am I playing puzzle while I have a job right in front of me? I need to focus on this or building this puzzle together. He brought in Havertz, the misunderstood player, the misprofiled from Chelsea, and he thinks this is an episode of Dr. Phil. He thinks it's Dr. Phil, and he's going to fix the issues that are going on. Why you misprofiled? Let me see what's wrong with your personality, and I'm going to profile you.
No,
you didn't need that.
If he doesn't win, I know you don't want him as your manager, so I'm not asking that question.
Okay.
If he doesn't win the league or Champions League, do you think Arsenal will sack him? Do you think he'll get another year, or do you believe it will happen? They'll remove him on. What do you think will happen? Be the consequence?
No, I think the club has backed him so far. I don't think they'll get rid of him as long as he gets Champions League. I think the standards of this club is he gets another go. But I think he should be sacked because in anything that you want to point at this manager that they gave me as an excuse, he's had. When they asked me, oh, you need to give him time, he's had time. Now he's got to deliver. When you said, oh, he's got to get his players, he's got his players. When you're telling me, oh, he has to get the team playing the way he wants to play, he's not implementing a second style of play this season. So when anything you want to use, at the end of the day, the fact that the bench, we have no one off the bench that's going to come on and change the game and give us a goal, it's down to him. There's no one off the bench that's going to come and create something from the midfield. It's down to him. The fact that certain players are regressing is down to him. So at the end of the day, it's on his watch. You know, I've said this before to Arsenal fans. Ole did well at first. Then he got a load of money. Then there was expectations. He didn't meet the expectations. He got fired. Same thing with Lampard. This is football. You don't meet expectations, you get fired. It's as simple as that. I think the problem these days, most fan bases are more fans of players and managers than they are the interests of their club. Because one thing that's forever is your trophies. That is a thing that remains forever. Your trophy cabinet. But people put now the interest of players as if they're their manager, like they're their agents or something. I don't care about these players because they don't care about my club. I've seen every player at Arsenal in the last 20 years that's become world-class or near about world-class has left. And why? Because my club is not run to win stuff. That is why they left. Why did Van Persie leave? They want to win trophies. Van Persie, Fabregas, Nasri, Alexis Sanchez, all these players, they get tired. They get to a certain level and realize my club is not run to win major honours. And then the fan base want to judge these players or, oh, but okay, we got some money for it. At the end of the day, that shows you something. Players don't want to stay here. We used to be able to attract Sol Campbell, which was probably arguably the best player at Tottenham, and bring it to Arsenal. Why? Because we were winning. We can't. That was the equivalent of trying to get a Harry Kane. We can no longer do that. Why? Because we're not that club anymore that is competing and winning major honours and taking it serious, where the demand is to win. But it's cool. People like me that want to win, it's my fault. It's my fault. I don't believe. It's people like me. I'm trying to be Liga and I'm trying to be this. I'm trying to be doing that. I grew up in the 90s, bro. This wasn't the standard. You know what I mean? This wasn't the standard for any of our clubs in the 90s, bro. It was about winning. I don't get it, bro. Like, at the end of the day, the manager ain't good enough. The club doesn't stop with Arteta. And the same people are telling me not to get Arteta out with the same people that got Wenger out the club because top four wasn't good enough. Why now, all these years now, top four's good enough? Why did we get rid of Wenger? Because Wenger's a bigger legend than this guy. Than this guy will ever be. But we got tired of that. But they got short memories. They got short memories, bro.
All I'm going to say is simply like, when they don't win a trophy, I should say, when they don't win a trophy and they continue to keep him after all these fans have said, we judge our manager by trophies. Like Northside said, they judge their manager by a certain standard. When they don't sack him, they're going to show. Like in Arteta's famous words, that's the fucking standard. This is the fucking standard. That's the standard for Arsenal now. This. Top four, back to where they was with Wenger. It's just a circle, man.
Do you know what's really interesting is some of the things you've done as a club in the last 4 years, I think were needed. I think you needed a complete reset. I think a lot of players needed to go. I think you need new people to help run the club. I think it was always going to take you time to get to a point where you could challenge. And I think you have been last 18 months at a level to challenge. This is when you really test what Arteta is all about. And this is when you really see if he's good enough. And we had this conversation about Poch in the summer. Would he be good enough for Chelsea? A lot of people thought he'd be good enough to at some point get them playing good football, but whether he can get them over the line to win the major trophies is still that big question mark that's over him. And I think Arteta has that. What I found really weird in the last 24 hours is there are certain Arsenal fans online that are blaming. I agree that the bench can get better. There's no doubt. No rebuild is ever complete in terms of your squad, because every team, even that wins a treble, buys and sells players. Like, it's a nonsense that you just stick with the same 23 players. And there is some holes in this team still, but I think you're ready as a squad, pretty much with a better quality manager to move forward. And you did some stuff in the last summer or so, which I don't remember Arsenal doing for a long time, which was your better players being rewarded with new contracts, being given new deals, being paid the going rate for top players. That's a sign of a club that wants to win. Doesn't mean everything you do is, but if you keep Arteta, if he comes third and finishes 15, 20 points off the top, goes out in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, the domestic cup performances, and you keep him, when there is more experienced managers who have won things available, that should be a sign to your fans that the board are just happy with that Champions League money if you make it, and that isn't good enough.
Can I just say something, Terry, quickly before, because I got to go, yeah? I got to go. The last thing I'm going to say, at the start of the season, Arsenal fans completely disrespected Liverpool fans, yeah, and their football club. So they're not in the title race. We are the only club that's going to either win the Champions League or the Premier League. So by their standards at the start of the season, yeah, they deem this squad good enough to win the league. Yeah, so I don't want to hear any excuses from these top reds. Yeah, I don't want to hear no excuses. You guys discounted Liverpool. You said that we're the only club in the race to win either Premier League or Champions League. So if we do not achieve that by their own standards and their own predictions at the start of the season, we have failed. Because then why did you make that prediction? They didn't say, oh, but we need to go in January buy a striker. I've been saying we need a striker. I've been saying it for years we need a striker. We never replaced the goals that Aubameyang was bringing to this team. We didn't. We literally replaced Lacazette for a better baller, but overall, the highest tally is 14 goals in a Premier League season. So by their standards, they can't backtrack. They've deemed it good enough to win a major honor. So if he doesn't, he should be sacked based on their predictions. That's what I'm going to say on it, man.
I hear you. Northside, top man, my bro. We'll chat again soon, my G. Take care. Take care, my man. Thank you. But listen, I've been saying this to Gooners for a while now, and it's such a weird conversation because you've praised us when I have praised you for certain things. But again, you still have to, if you really had a rebuild and you really rebuilt and a lot of the things you've said are true, then sacking your manager shouldn't matter because all you then do is bring in a better manager to take over from that person and you keep moving forward in that direction. If you don't believe your club has really reset itself culturally, then I can understand why you're worried about sacking a manager because Man United have never done a reset. We've never actually reset, flushed out all the crap and started again. We just build upon the ruins of the last failure and you end up back in that same position. So this shows you what a lot of Arsenal fans really think. I do believe they built a pretty good squad. I do. I think the last few games is a bad run of games. I still think they're going to bounce back soon and play some good football. I still think they're in this title race as of now. They're only 5 points up the top. I think City and Liverpool will drop more points. I think Onana would be a good signing, but coming close and falling short again after 4.5 years, you have to look at the manager. And that isn't that. And this is the one thing I'd say to Gooners that love Arteta. And I get why you love him. I understand why some of you love him, but you can't put his interests above the interests of the club. The only way I agree with not sacking Arteta at the end of the season is if they finish on 92 points, 1 point behind City, win the league on 93 points, as an example. Then you look at it and go, is anyone... But even then, that only coincides if you can't get a better manager. So don't sack him for De Zerbi. Don't sack him for, in my opinion, Alonso, who are inexperienced at that level and haven't done it. There has to be somebody who's won league titles, won European trophies, has more experience to come in. You have to get that right. You can't make a mistake in that way. But I think shutting down the conversation and saying, no, you're not an Arsenal fan, if you think for any reason Arteta might have to go, I think that's reductive for your football club.
Terry, by the way, the scapegoating won't end. Sorry, KJ, I'm just going to say one thing. Scapegoating won't end. There's two scapegoats people aren't focusing on this season. Even if they sign a striker and they still lose games and they still suck, they're going to scapegoat Zinchenko or Ben White. Those are the two new scapegoats now. We've all spoken to Arsenal fans who are like more pro Arteta. That's the new thing. Like, Zinchenko can't defend. Yeah, but you were putting him team of the season last year. Oh, Ben White is crap. Yeah, we were putting him team of the season last year. I think Arteta's out of his mind if he signs Onana. Because Onana is not an Arsenal football type player. Like, it's just, he just does not work. He's not press resistant at all, not good on the ball. So I think, like, if he signs Onana, then he just digs the hole even bigger for himself. Because now it just shows that he cannot take the squad to the other level.
Arsenal fans are very close to putting Arteta above their club. And that is not good. They're very close to doing that. Because if he doesn't achieve anything this year, and the majority of the fan base are still saying, yeah, it's okay. Like, he's fine. Give him 1 more year. Just keep going. I question, what's your end goal for your club? Is it your end goal for Arsenal to win the Champions League or Premier League? Or is it for Arteta to win the Champions League or Premier League? That's what I'm saying. And if your club don't sack him or don't look like they're looking to moving on, then I also think your club are putting Arteta above themselves. It's getting to a point where I really think they think this is like Football Manager, and it's like, we are going to make this happen. We're going to make Arteta be the one to win.
They're looking for the fairy tale story, KJ. That's the thing. They're looking for the fairy tale story, and this is what I don't understand. I don't understand this emotional attachments to players and managers.
Fairy tale story all this time. Arteta's the villain, not the hero. That's the funny part.
No, but you know what it is? He was a villain at first, and then people fell in love with him, and now they're so obsessed. Because you know when you watch a movie and you're really hoping for the fairy tale ending, and then you see like the hero of the movie ended up dying or going to jail or something like that, and you're like, oh, that was such a shit movie. I was hoping this and that works out. It doesn't always work out like that. It's fine. Sometimes the hero, in their eyes right now, Arteta, doesn't end up being it. And I said in the summer, at some point, they're going to realize, and I still stand on that he's the Claudio Ranieri of their process. He really is. That doesn't mean that Claudio Ranieri had nothing to do with Chelsea's success at the time.
Yeah.
But he was the initiator of it. And Arteta could be like that. You can look at. We thought, by the way, Terry, we thought Ollie's going to be like that. Remember when we said Ollie's leaving the club at a better state than when he?
That was because they sold to us the whole way through the club. If you went on their 100%. Website, you read things they said. They sold it. Their actual words in his statement of Ollie being sacked was, "We've rebuilt the squad. We have rebuilt the internal structure of the club, and we are ready to start winning." 100%. And then straight away we saw that was all bullshit. Nothing could have been changed, but it came out afterwards. And people will say things to me, and I'll hold my hands up, and they'll say things like, no more Arsenal scare me content. Well, listen, you have got to understand there's two things on that. Firstly, I was speaking about that. I was speaking about that from the perspective as a Man United fan at that particular moment in time. And people always said, oh, why would you expect City fans to be scared of them? And I'm like, I don't really, because City are a better team. That's not what I'm saying, though, right? Equally, yeah, if say Arteta comes second and finishes 10 points off top, goes out in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, and they sack him and they sign Simeone, that would show me Arsenal are serious. So that's when you go, damn. So that's the whole point around that content.
Liverpool scare you, Terry?
But yes, they've done for years. You know that.
Wasn't the title Liverpool frighten me? Something like that. Which one is it?
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I look at it and think to myself, surely people understand that. When Arsenal were giving out all the real good contracts to their real talented players, I'm sitting there going, I don't remember in my lifetime, as an adult anyway, Arsenal doing this. All of their best players came in, got their first deal, maybe did one new deal, and then when any of them got to a level where they were turning heads, they nearly all left. So suddenly Arsenal start tying all these guys down, and I'm like, they're doing something serious here. But I said this to so many gooners, as much as I've praised you, and I think you've been right for the praise you've had, it's in these moments that you have to keep your foot on the neck of your owners. Do they make the moves to make you better to win, or are they just happy with where you are? And that's where you need to maintain the pressure.
No, but if they make the move and it's Onana, that's on Arteta. That's not on Kroenke. That's the thing.
No, of course. If he signs Onana and spend, I don't know what they'll drop him. Say they drop £50 million on Onana. I'm making that up. There's no talk of money yet. And then they don't spend money elsewhere, then and it goes wrong, then yes, then it's a case of, right, the club did the right thing. They sanctioned the money. So this is why I say to Arsenal fans, I believe it's a win-win season for you. You either win with Arteta or you move on to a manager that can make you win because your club are willing to do the right thing. I know neither of those well, it depends on who you are, whether you like those situations. But the way I've seen Arsenal fans talk in the last few days, like they are where Man United are right now, is crazy to me. You're not there. You're in a much better place. It's just about fine-tuning now. And that might just be a couple of players and maybe a new manager of a slightly higher pedigree. And I don't understand why that's so triggering to Arsenal fans.
The thing is, for me, Terry, is I think that if they don't sack Arteta or get to a point, and forget the owners, forget the fans, it gets to a point where the dressing room starts to believe that they're not going to win anything. It starts to become more toxic. Like we've all seen in our clubs after that point of Pochettino, for example, after we got to the height of, we almost won the Champions League, just everyone starts to lose that belief that they're going to do something. And I feel like the players, we all call the players bottlers, they already have it in their head. Arsenal players already know that they're just not of the level of City and so on. But at this point in time, when you go another season without winning, which will be 4 or 5 years without a trophy for them, it's now going to be Arteta's 3-4 years just consistent failure, by the way, because apart from, he failed in the season where they in the top 4 race, failed in the title race against City, and then if they finish below second, that's rewarding failure again because they've regressed even further.
And I think, and you have to look at these things. And people are saying, I want to address the crowd here, saying I'm backtracking. I'm not backtracking about anything. Reversing and backtrack. There's no backtracking from me. You guys watch the videos. You're trolling me. You know exactly what I've said. There are elements of Arsenal that I think are brilliant. I don't suddenly think that this bad team. And I tweeted about this today because I see the hypocrisy. For 3 years, all I've heard from everybody about football is when you're not playing well, if you win without a good performance, that is unsustainable. Would you guys say that's a fair statement of the last 3 years from most football fans online? Arsenal right now generally are playing quite well for large parts of games, but not winning. And now what we're being told is it's all just about winning. And my fervent belief has always been that there's an element of truth to both of them, but the narrative's even been changed for Arsenal. You guys are going to click back into gear soon. Some of your players like Martinelli, like Saka, are going to start scoring again soon. But I don't think you can get away from conversations about your manager. They are inevitable because something has led to there being some issues recently. And it might just be a bad run of form when it all clicks back into gear and you win the Premier League. And then all these conversations are for nothing. But I don't know whether this is a Shakespearean quote or whatever, but one does protest too much, me think. When I see people get angry over questions, that's when you know you're touching on a raw nerve where there could be some truth. I want to play a clip for you guys in a minute, but I want to do some of these super chats first. So I want to try and respect the audience as best we can here. This is from Nathaniel that says, Poch has said that we don't need a striker in January. I don't want to hear excuses when we can't score. Sack him, get in Don Simeone.
Chelsea fans are so jarring. By far the most jarring fan base to speak to.
Well, what's wrong with that super chat? What's wrong with that super chat?
They still think this is the Abramovich era and they have a team primed to win trophies now. Your average age of your squad is 13. Simeone can't work with your team. If Simeone signs tomorrow, first thing he's going to do is sign 5 35-year-olds. So let's not do that now. Come on, man.
Nah, Nathaniel, big up for the super. You said nothing wrong there, Nathaniel.
You gotta understand that people like Nathaniel, though, never wanted this youth project that they're doing.
Yeah, but
so
we're talking about what Todd Bowley's doing. That's what Todd Bowley's doing.
Yeah, but he never wanted this. So if he's saying you want Simeone in, I hear him because he never wanted this whole rebuild where he got rid of a bunch of winners.
If he wants
brought in all
Simeone
these kids, like you said.
Todd Bowley out. That's what that means.
That's fine. He has a standard for his club. Yeah. Standard FC, let's rise.
If we sack Teta, who should Arsenal get? There aren't any good coaches who are willing to lead their respective projects for new ones. Well, listen, Robert, your second point. If there's no managers that are better than him that are willing to sign for you, then fair enough. That to a degree, fair enough. But I still think you're Arsenal Football Club. I still think if you offer the right money, there are top quality managers out there. The only 3 managers in the world, in my opinion, that are unattainable, 4 actually, Big Ange Postecoglou, that's not going to happen. Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and Ancelotti. They're the only 4 that I don't think you can pull away from the clubs they're currently at.
There's one answer, Harry. The greatest midfielder in history, Zizou. That's the guy who I think if they could get, they would win trophies 100%.
I don't think the only issue that you don't even want to be in England. You know what I mean? So
you know what though as well, KJ? I have a problem with this super chat. Yeah, and the reason I have a problem with this super chat is there's no one better than Arteta. This is his first managerial job, and he's won. Why? I tell you what the problem is because people are talking like Arteta, like is this proper sick manager? He's won 1 FA Cup, and this is his first managerial job. Are you seriously telling me you can't find a manager out there that's got a better record than that? He's won 1 FA Cup in 4 years and bottled the league and bottled the
Champions League. And he dismantled that team, LB. Remember that he dismantled that team.
The one thing I will say is every time you mention a winner, it's like, no, not him, though. Like Simeone, can't be him. Conte, can't be him.
Yeah, Simeone is a good answer for Arsenal, actually.
If you said Hansi Flick, but not him. If you mention anyone else who's won trophies, they say no. But it's like, so you're basically saying, it's not that there's no managers out there, because there are. You just don't want to get rid of Arteta. Just say that. Just say you would never.
AJ, can tell something that makes me laugh? In the process, there were Arsenal fans at the start of the season that said they wouldn't trade Arteta for Klopp. That's the only to know.
Yeah. I mean, look, Sonny here says Arteta is sacked tomorrow. Who are you bringing in realistically in January? Lampard will. So again, I don't actually think you need to sack Arteta tomorrow. Lampard? That's my personal opinion. I think he's being sarcastic. But I look at it depends on who you like. So, for instance, the Sporting Lisbon manager, say you rate him, he's attainable now. I'd add all 4 managers to the list that are unattainable that I already mentioned. I'd probably say you're not going to get Simeone mid-season due to the respect that he has for his current football club. But Arsenal are a big club. You pay the compensation, you can attract people mid-season. It's
also,
doable.
Just a quick one. That super chat. We'll just get Lampard. What happened to believing in the Conkeys? What happened to believing in Edu? Like you're now you're just saying they're crap because if they sacked Arteta, they would get Lampard in instead of getting someone good. So which is it? What is it, people? Are these people actually good, or are they snakes and pagans like before there was in the beginning? Please tell me.
If Arsenal as an institution has been fixed and people believe that, why do they not trust that the Cronkies, Edu, whoever's running the football operations there, won't already have identified, hey, if Arteta gets sacked, this is the right replacement. Isn't that what proper clubs do? Do you think City are sitting there and they're like, there's no life after Pep? The day Pep leaves, we're going to panic and we're not going to know who we're going to sign. No, they probably year after year, they're waiting. God forbid something ever happens to Pep and he has to quit his job. Remember when Enrique had to leave because his daughter had cancer, whatever. Things happen in life. Or maybe he just quits. He's quit before football. Remember when he said, I need a break? You think City are sitting there? They're like, we don't know who's coming in. We can pray that he quits. We hope nothing happens in his personal life. But I hope he quits 100%. But City are sitting there. They know if he ever leaves, this is what we're going to do, X, Y, Z. They're not doing what United did 10 years ago when Sir Alex out of nowhere said, you know what, I'm retiring. Let's just bring Moyes and let's see.
Boys, I just want to say what I think a big part of it is, right? There's a big thing online of I want what my prediction was to be right. And some of that comes from the Arteta inners, some of that comes from the Arteta outers. How do I know this? Because I said when Oli got sacked that the Oli in, Oli out debate hasn't changed. It just moves on and it evolves. And you'll get it now if Ten Hag's sacked. The ones who wanted him to stay in are often horrible to the new manager. And that will happen again. If Arteta was sacked today and Simeone come in, some people that loved Arteta will be overly critical and really harsh on Simeone. And some of the guys that have been Arteta out and spoke about standards for 3 or 4 years will suddenly have lower standards for Simeone because they like him. Some people do that. I think for me, you've just got to look beyond that and put your football club first. And I don't think he does need to be sacked right now here today. I think that's a little bit reactionary unless you've never rated him. I get it, right? But you have to ask these questions about what's going wrong and how can they be improved. And if your consensus view is, I think a lot of these issues have been created by the manager and he doesn't fix them, his job has to be under scrutiny because that's what every high-paid person in every high-profile job in the world faces every single week and month. I always remember a friend of mine got offered an MD job at Barclays and he turned it down. And it was a little bit more money, but I ain't doing that. Why? He goes, once you get to that level, you don't get the same kind of protections that other employees get in businesses. It's like you make a mistake, you're gone. And it's like you're swept out by the back door. He went, I don't want that pressure. I goes, where I'm at now, it's good pay, but I get all the sort of employment rights everybody else gets. He went, so I'm just not moving on. You put yourself into a certain role, you're always there to be shot down and you just got to deal with it. This here says Teta needs to start winning so that Saka, Rice, Saliba doesn't get snatched by Real Madrid, Bayern, City. Our striker and central left centre midfield needs attention this January. Thank you, Robert, my bro.
I have a fix.
Enigma here says, bro came in to cash his Arteta out chips. Northside is just providing comedy and comfort for rivals. Arsenal will regain confidence and make a run, is what Enigma says.
I think that's absolute nonsense. Northside came up here, in my opinion, right now. The people that are more of Northside's belief is more proven right. Because once again, like as Terry mentioned with the whole Onana thing, if that happens, then we know that Arteta is the culprit of everything. So time will tell. But I think they're more on the right side. Because you ain't going to win champs or Prem if you don't sign a striker. So
there we go. This here says... Ten Hag or Nagelsmann would do well with this Arsenal team?
Yeah, take Ten Hag.
Yeah, you can Ten Hag, bro. Go for it. Arteta doesn't trust the subs, but yet offers huge contract renewals, replace a lot of the bench and rotate the squad. I think what Arteta has done is what a lot of naive managers do, young managers do. It's a bit like some people do this in relationships. I can be the person that change her or change him, and it never really worked. We need strength and height in the DM position. At 50 million, it would be a good deal. Priority is a striker. Sell Nketiah, Smith Rowe, return effing Raya. Terry, what membership I can have free super chats? Love, bruv. Well, I think all memberships get given a certain amount of free member chats per month. I'm not too sure on the number. I'll have to look at it, bro. But yeah, just take a look on the members page and take a look at the different options there, my bro. Thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it. Every time Arsenal are aiming higher, they buy Chelsea flops and then fall apart. Shout out to Willian, Czech, Luis, Jorginho, and Havertz. CFC legends is what Jimmy says here. Blame Arteta all you want, but he has coached this team to victories. His system is working and they're creating. He's done all he can do aside from putting the ball in the back of the net. It's a fair challenge. We hear that a lot. My manager coached the victory. Is there an element of truth at this where it could just be that some of these players aren't up to task?
No, because he chose Havertz to lead that line. Didn't he choose Jesus and Havertz to lead the line?
Exactly.
Neither of them are bagging now.
Jesus. We all knew Jesus is not a prolific scorer. This was always going to happen at some point. He bought Havertz. We all know he was rubbish. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, whilst the comment on its own is true, you got to look at the context behind it. He's bought the players. He's bought these players. It's up to him to get the tune out of him. You can't just say, "Oh, the players aren't doing what he's saying, so it's not his fault." That's not how football works. Football's never worked like that. The responsibility always ends up with the manager. Facts.
Thank you, Kyle. This here says Goldbridge is hypocritical on his Arteta outtake. He'd never accept only one trophy in 4.5 years from any Man United manager. He's been wanting change. Look, I think you've got to look at it this way. I haven't listened to all of Mark's stuff, but he's also looking at it from the perspective of the Man United fan, and maybe just thinks you guys are actually in a really good position. You're really close to winning. Don't ask for too much change at this point. He doesn't think that about the Man United situation. So the two circumstances are not the same. Therefore, the opinions can be different, thus not hypocritical. Although it may appear that way. I get what you're saying.
Goldbridge also said we'd win the Champions League, so we don't take him seriously, do we?
Well, everybody gets predictions wrong, don't they? You know what I mean? It's,
yeah, but looking at this United team saying we're in the Champions League. All right.
Arsenal social media posted Eddie Top-Bin's finish goals in training just to be on the bench for 24 hours by a midfielder who's supposed to replace Xhaka. Oh, yes, it's not a good look, is it? I view Clear as close in comparison, but one is objectively superior than the other, just like Salah is clear of Hazard. So he's not clear, though. Now, Benzema has a superior... Again, you've got to think of a different word, because the word clear means there's a gap. Like, it's clear. There's no... I actually Googled it. It means almost no... being clear of someone or something means there's almost no comparison. And I just don't think that's right. So there we go. I never wanted this Epstein model. Standards on the floor. Big up Husam, by the way. Simeone to get results, or Mourinho for the rebuild, but they won't. Listen, you don't need Mourinho.
Yeah, but Simeone and Mourinho are rebuild managers. Nathaniel, first of all, thank you for bigging me up. Second of all, thank you for sending in a super chat. Third of all, my brother, that's my point, though. If we're talking Arsenal, Mourinho and Simeone is perfect. You're ready to take the next step now and win. With Chelsea, you have about 25 youngsters in that team. That's not a Mourinho team or a Simeone team. So you would have to change the whole model before you bring in any of these managers. You need to go by like 3, 4, 5, 30-year-olds first.
I want to play a video that was recorded yesterday after the game. Something that lead judges has said. I want to play this. It's something he says about Liverpool. I want to get your guys' opinion on this, about this Liverpool team.
They didn't. They didn't. And we kept opening them up time and time again. And then, you know, if you don't punish crap teams like that today, because let's face it, they weren't very good, Liverpool, today. That's the worst Liverpool team I've seen for a very, very long while. Like, you know, no threat, no nothing. Like, if you can't punish teams like that, you deserve what you get. And when you know,
he's right in terms of you deserve what you set. Were Liverpool that bad yesterday? Were Liverpool no threat to Arsenal, as lead judges and a number of gooners have stated?
First half, yeah.
First half, yes.
They were dead in the first half, yeah.
Yeah, first half.
If that clip refers to the first half, then realistically, I said it earlier on, but I'm not shy to realize what happened yesterday. I said it already. Look, first half could have been 4-0 to Arsenal, but all the forwards missed chances. Second half is a completely different game. We grew into the game. We had multiple counterattacks. We woke up in the second half. Second half, I'd say we were probably a bit closer to score, to be honest with you. So I'd say, yeah, exactly. First half only. Second, I think it was a game of two halves. First half, they just kept missing sitter after sitter after sitter, chance after chance after chance. So first half, we're right. We were crap. But once again, if we come to the Emirates with no Virgil van Dijk, with no Mo Salah, with Kwanzaa playing as centre back, no Endo, no Szoboszlai, even Jota, who's probably our most dangerous forward, was on the bench because he's coming back from injury, then I don't expect us to go to Arsenal and dominate them off the thing. We have to just take the pressure. And a lot of it was created by Arsenal. Like, they did press really well in the first half. A lot of it was self-damage by us, where like Kwanzaa would give away the ball, or Gomez would give away the ball, or there would be a mistake. But look, in football, if you don't score goals, you get punished. And Arsenal got punished by Liverpool, and they had many chances to win the game, but they didn't. Even Klopp at the end, it felt like he was just throwing away the game. He's like, yo, let me bring on Tom Little and Tom Little's brother to come on to play this game, and then it just and they still couldn't beat us. Like Connor Bradley, Bobby Clark. There were so many youngsters on the bench. I don't even know. Like it's on FIFA when it's a gray face. Like it's just you don't even know what they look like. Type of thing. NPC exactly. We brought on 2 Tom Littles and 1 in the Emirates. So I'll take it. Second half we were a lot better. Even us, by the way, the counter-attacking opportunities we had. Nunez had multiple chances. The Trent shot that hit the bar, like so many chances. But if Lee Judges is talking about the first half, he is correct because first half we were crap, but second half we woke up.
I think it's simply Klopp outcoached Arteta in the second half. He dominated the first half. He pressed. He did everything. Couldn't obviously put the ball in the back of the net, as we all saw, because of Havertz and them. But, Klopp being the manager that he is, he came in the second half and he decided no more of this building from the back bullshit. No trying to build for that midfield. They're pressing us high up the pitch. Let's force them to sit in a little bit of a mid-block. And what he did is he did something very wise. Obviously, I don't watch Liverpool as much as Liverpool fans. My idea was you got to go long. You go long from either your back line or from Alisson, because Alisson has decent distribution. What he did, and he did very smartly, is he kept putting Trent Alexander-Arnold right ahead of his 2 center backs. He picks up the ball and he pings it to one of his wingers, and it worked so many times. It forced Arsenal to drop a little bit deeper, and there was still gaps in behind. And if they had someone a little bit better than Nunez, who can control the ball a little bit better and make better decisions in the final third, if that one chance that was played to, I think it was Diaz to Jota, something like that, right before they scored, if they were a little bit clinical with that, they actually would have scored a lot more goals in the second half. I think it was a complete masterclass from Klopp. I didn't like when people said it's a smash and grab. A smash and grab to me is like you play the same way for 90 minutes. You find a counterattack where you score a goal and that's it. Klopp actually changed the tactics in the second half, and it worked. And Arteta had all the tools with him, except for maybe Zinchenko and Jesus, which, let's be honest, I don't think them two are the reason you win or lose games anyways. But he had more tools available than Klopp, and Klopp was able to play his way, and Arteta didn't accommodate to it. He didn't adapt to it, and he lost the game. And as Husam said, at some point, Klopp didn't even look like he was interested in the game. He's like, you know what? The worst thing that can happen to me right now is to have a replay because I have a league that I'm trying to win. So let me throw in the youngsters. What's crazy is when he said Tom Little and his brother came on, or Tom Little and his cousin, they actually were hungry. They were hungry. They were going in. They were winning their 50-50s. They were battling with these Arsenal players. They were giving them a rough time. And listen, it ended up giving them that fire. They had
tactical foul on Declan Rice to stop the
they had that fire in their bellies. Yes, 100%. He had these 2 youngsters that came in had that fire in their bellies to do something, and it actually ignited this team to push even more and get the goals. At no point, by the way, in that second half did I not think Liverpool was going to win this. I didn't know how long it would take, but at some point they finally reached it because you know what? Kudos to Klopp.
Give us kudos, man.
We spoke a lot about Arsenal tonight. I think on Liverpool, this is a team that they feel so inevitable this year. That they really do. And look, I put them in the top 4 at the beginning of the season. They're definitely in the title race now. They can win the league. They can win the Europa League. They can win the League Cup. They're in the semi-finals. The FA Cup. They're in the semi-finals of the League Cup. Liverpool's serious. And that's because you need to rebuild your midfield, but you didn't need a rebuild of a squad because you built that years ago and you're adding to it. And there are still problems. I still think you need more from Diaz. I still think you need more from Darwin Núñez when it comes to goals. There's still some I think you need to buy a new centre back. There's still some holes there, but City have holes and players they need to buy as an example. But yeah, this Liverpool team's just got such great inner strength. And as good as Arsenal were, it was blocks from the likes of Konate, blocks from Trent. It was good defending that stopped Arsenal from scoring in large parts as well. Yes, they could have taken shots quicker. The hitting the bar from Odegaard as an example. But the reason why he had to shoot high is because of how quickly and well the Liverpool team shut up shop, defended, pressed out to the ball when he was about to shoot. Liverpool are dangerous this year. And I'm at a point where I still put City as the favourites to win the league. But Liverpool are second in that run now, as far as I'm concerned, because they also have the know-how. The fans, the manager, a lot of this squad have won the major trophies before, and that helps you in this scenario. And I know that you're missing Salah and Endo for a few weeks now, which is a shame because That is because Endo's actually started to look like a really good player in the last
And
3
Japan
or 4
are going
games.
all the way. Even over here in the Middle East, they're predicting Japan to go all the way. Many people predicting Japan to win it. So Endo's going to be gone. I predict that Endo, on paper, it seems like Japan is probably even going to go further than Egypt. So even Japan might, like even Endo might stay a bit longer. But look, for us winning the league and all this, we have to essentially be perfect from now till May, which I don't think is realistic. So I still think this January window is going to be massive for us. I do hope we sign like a center back necessarily. Yesterday when Konate and Kwanzaa, each one of them went down for 5 seconds, we all just bricked it because it was just too much thinking like, oh, who else is going to come now? Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. So we definitely need a center back. I still think that DM area, and at the same time the other forwards need to step up. Yesterday was a prime example. Listen, Mo Salah not being in this team, people don't understand his impact. People keep saying it's just goals, it's not performances. Mo Salah alone, he attracts 2-3 defenders, which therefore creates space for player X, player Y, player Z, for so many players to have that effect. And Mo Salah is a world-class player. He's the best winger in the world, I think, right now. In my opinion, best performer in the league so far this season. And you look at stuff like this and you have to go like, he's obviously going to be a miss, but others need to step up, because the same thing the Arsenal have, we have at a smaller scale. Like when it comes to Cody Gakpo, he's got like 3 goals in 16, 17 games. Diaz got 3 goals in 16, 17 games. Darwin got 4 goals in 16, 17 games. That is not a forward line that can win you a Premier League unless they step up. Moments like this from Diaz yesterday is what we need more of. Diaz, score me a goal to win me a game. Nunes, score me a goal to win me a game. Jota, do it. Gakpo, do it, etc. We need players to step up, and almost we need to be perfect without injuries as well, because I think that's going to be, because our squad is not a squad capable of competing on all 4 fronts, currently as things stand, because the rotations would be like just crazy. So we definitely need to sign players. And now all the attention moves to FSG, and here we are again, back at the same cycle. Feels like I'm on the terrace from 2 years ago, quadruple charge season. Oh my God, Terry, we need a midfielder. We need a midfielder. I said it 100 times that year. And, we ended up just winning the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So, look, I think Carabao Cup, Europa League are realistic for us to win. The other two is just going to be difficult unless we make signings, to be honest with you.
I hear you, bro. Super chats here. Even Ray Charles wouldn't have signed Kai Havertz. Big up Ray Charles, what a legend. If Liverpool win the league and Arteta gets sacked and Salah is leaving, Liverpool will go for Saka. Do the panel think he would join Liverpool?
I don't think he'll go for Saka to begin with.
But if you did, do you think he'd say yes to Liverpool? Or do you think he'd say no and stay at Arsenal? Go on, mate.
I was just going to say, there is a man that I know that Husam's been wanting for a few seasons, that he said will definitely leave Arsenal for Liverpool. And I just want to know if he felt the same for the man on the left side of the pitch.
Oh, Martinelli.
The star boy. I still think Martinelli would cook at Liverpool low-key, because I still think he's a good finisher. But I don't know if we'd go for Saka. But Saka, I don't think Saka leaves Arsenal for anyone, to be honest with you. Saka's like the Trent. Like, he's just going to stay.
Why would he not leave? Why would he not? If he's good as Arsenal fans are making out and Arsenal don't win anything, why would he not leave?
Because he's like Arsenal through and through. Same reason why Phil Foden wouldn't leave, Trent wouldn't leave. It's just they're local boys.
If we get to like 2027 and Arsenal still not won anything, and Saka's still doing as good as Arsenal fans say he's doing, you tell me he's not going to leave?
So LB, your City through and through. If you played left back for Man City for 5 years and they won nothing, and Real Madrid came in for you, would you leave?
I'd probably go Real Madrid. Yeah.
To be fair, you got to remember. Like,
you're talking to a glory hunter, a proper you got to know.
It's about winning trophies.
LB would leave just before the 115 charges court case. That's when he'd be off. He's straight out the door. Andrew here says, how about this for analogy on what the clear definition is? Justin Gatlin's PB is 9.92 seconds. Is close to Bolt on paper, but the gap is still clear. In fact, but it isn't though. 0.4 in 100-meter sprinting is a country mile. It's an absolute. Again, it's not. I get where you're coming from. It is close on paper, but 4/100ths of a second, I think that's what it counts as. I remember listening to. I think it was Roger Black or some. No, it wasn't. Martin Johnson said this, that being that far behind a 100-meter sprinter is the equivalent of finishing 2 miles behind somebody in a marathon race. So that is clear of somebody, yes, because it is actually a very big way. But thank you, Andrew. I appreciate the super chat, bro. Look, I want to thank everybody that's tuned into the show. I actually enjoyed tonight a lot. It was a great show, great debate, good arguments, and everything else. To my super chatters, thank you. Remember, we are sponsored by our friends at NordVPN. You shouldn't be using the internet unless you're protected. And with NordVPN, you can protect yourself online and your data with top-tier encryption. You can choose amongst 6,000 plus servers worldwide and access all your favorite content wherever you go and secure up to 6 devices at once with one account. And it is as cheap as chips. It really, really is very, very cheap indeed. A few pounds per month, as cheap as a cup of coffee to protect yourself. And I'm still using, I don't know about all, it works on my desktop fine, Satanta Sports, $2.99 a month. All the football you can imagine, La Liga, Premier League, FA Cup, and much, much more. UFC, it's all there. Even the box office stuff, it's there. Literally, via using my NordVPN. So get yourself signed up to it now. You can scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the description below. But until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. We'll see you after the mighty Wigan take on the Minnows, Manchester United in the FA Cup. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you all again soon. Peace.